So we are live. Well, I am anyway. Don't have anybody else with me tonight so far. So, you know, nope. Speaking of, there's somebody trying to jump in right now. Look, it says device is not connected for King. Oh, there he goes. Hey, man, you made it just as I hit the live button. You there? If you're talking, you're muted.
I didn't know if the pre-thing was still running and I just couldn't hear it or what.
No, it's done. So, how are you today?
I'm generally pretty good. Most of my problem is with everybody else.
Is that how that
That's
works?
that's one of the days that I'm having now.
Uh, so you just want to kick everybody's ass, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling really confrontational and really aggressive.
So you're feeling like Kathy Bates in Misery.
Well, I mean, if you were just getting warmed up, I mean, she was kind of soft.
Yeah, I only bring that up because my daughter is watching that on the TV right now. So.
Well, yeah, Kathy Bates went super hard in that movie. Yeah, she went super hard in that movie too.
Mm-hmm. So there's been an update in the suspension issue over in AEW. I don't know if you saw it or not, but 4 people who were suspended had their suspensions lifted as part of the ongoing investigation.
Who?
Michael Nakazawa,
Who's that?
Brandon Cutler. Michael Nakazawa is the Asian guy that hangs out with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
All right. For the simplicity, just say wrestler or executive.
Well, these 2 are both wrestlers.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brandon Cutler, the guy that always wears the jumpsuit, has the camera at ringside. The bald headed guy,
Yeah.
wears the face shield. He was. Both of them were unsuspended, as were Christopher Daniels and Pat Buck, because of the investigation turned up so far that those 4 were trying to break up the fight and weren't actually involved in the fight itself. So they had their suspensions lifted.
Well, that's good. Are they going to get reimbursed for pay, or is it like, hey,
I don't know. There was no details on any of that yet.
Well, that's
And
good.
we're according to reports and rumors, we are supposed to get more details on exactly what the suspensions entail and everything this coming week, either beginning some point during the week. I mean, the beginning of the week, middle of the week is unknown at this point, but at some point during the upcoming week, we are supposed to get the details on all of that.
Nice. The G23 didn't do a show today, did he?
No, he did not. I was wondering that myself. I was like, did G23 go live? I was like looking, like I didn't get a notification if he did. So
Yeah, I noticed that he wasn't there.
yeah, he's slipping. I'll tell you.
Yeah, all that Mom's Demand Action money that he gets.
Uh huh.
So, do you think that anything besides suspensions will happen to anybody? Like if they were at like when it comes to find out that it was me and you fighting, and Gizzard, Jason, and Krabby were all just breaking it up, what kind of trouble are me and you gonna end up in?
That remains to be seen, man. We've got to wait and see what the internal investigation is. What cleared those 4 people? So um, they're obviously doing a thorough look into it. So we just have to wait and see what they come up with. I mean, honestly, we it's still, as far as anything that's been made public from people being interviewed by various sources and whatnot. He said, she said, nobody knows for sure exactly what happened yet because they haven't released official findings yet. So
Where's all the videotape? There was no security cameras picked up anything. There was no.
not in the locker room. There's no security cameras in the locker room itself for privacy reasons.
Well, okay, so this is a spot where guys would be naked.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So yeah, there's no cameras or anything in there unless they're filming a bit for one of the
Yeah,
vignettes during the show, or they're filming something for being the elite or something. There's no cameras in the locker rooms.
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, that's good. You don't need cameras in the locker room, especially with high-profile people. That's just begging to set somebody up.
Uh huh. Especially if it's like the women's locker room or something. Good lord, can you imagine the
Oh,
backlash?
geez.
It was an interesting rumor that came out from the Hollywood Reporter this week. I don't buy it one bit myself, but they're saying that there are talks for NBC Universal to merge with Discovery Warner, who had just merged. Personally, I don't buy any of it.
Wait a minute.
But what?
Say that again.
According to the Hollywood Reporter,
Uh huh.
who is one of the big
Yeah,
Hollywood,
I've heard of them.
mag tabloid rag things where they talk about entertainment news and everything.
Yeah.
Well, some people out there in the chat may not, so I got to explain it for them.
Oh no, I'm telling you, I know who they are. I've heard of them.
Yeah. But they're reporting potentially that there are talks between NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast,
Yeah.
and Discovery Warner to merge. Now, the ink isn't even dry yet on the Discovery Warner merger. They're still making changes based on that merger.
Remember, remember when? Oh, I can't even think of the name of them now. Sirius Radio and XM were trying to merge,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody on the planet was having kittens. Oh my God, you can't. Two massive companies, they can't do it. It's a conflict of interest. It's gonna corner the market. Oh my God. And since then, there's been multi-billion-dollar companies that have merged.
Oh yeah. I don't. There's a couple reasons I don't buy it. One, the fact that like I said, the ink isn't even dry on the Discovery Time Warner merger yet, and Discovery and NBC Universal used to be in cahoots with each other, but they had a falling out. And I don't think the current board of directors for Discovery, who basically are the ones that are running the whole shebang now, they wasn't just a merger. They basically bought out Time Warner for all intents and purposes. Are going to be so quick to jump back into bed with NBC Universal after the issues they had with them in the past. Now, I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it as of right now because, again, one of the main reasons, the fact that they just did the merger with Warner, which they're still revamping everything from that, and the history between Discovery and NBC Universal.
Well, Discovery doesn't need cable anymore. So they don't need broadcast networks anymore. Uh, so many people are interested in animals and rainforests and deserts and seeing the sights that they'll never get to go see. You know how like only reason people would watch Discovery Channel in the first place until they started putting a bunch of dumb shows on there. I mean, they still got what Deadliest Catch, so that's all right.
Yeah.
But the internet, Discovery will be just fine on the internet, and what do they call it? Streaming services and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But there's more to Discovery now because of the merger. And this is where it influences the whole wrestling thing. Who owns Peacock?
Was that NBC, right?
Yep. Who broadcasts AEW's programming?
Either TNN or TBS.
TBS and TNT.
Okay,
Who
yeah.
owns TBS and TNT?
Ted Turner, right?
No,
What, Time Warner?
Discovery Time Warner. Who owns USA Network?
I would want to guess Time Warner, right?
No, NBC Universal.
Right. Okay.
What what channel does uh yeah, what channel does Raw air on? USA Network. Do you see the conflict if
Well,
if those companies were to merge?
well, yeah. The the people in bed with the WWE would be in control of the broadcast network or the competition.
Yeah, I don't see that ending well for AEW.
I think right now with the whole fight thing going on and the new titles and all that, I'm absolutely 100% positive that it's real life. I didn't think it was a skit. Pretty much 5 minutes after you started talking about it, but now there's really no denying that it's real life. And some of the promos that the wrestlers were cutting, Moxley, and we talked about, we watched a couple of them. It
Hmm.
sounds like a lot of people are really pissed off at those dudes. And if it's all of the dudes or just one of the dudes that started it, whether it be CM Punk or whether it be the other guy, there's a lot of regular guys that were back in the studio or back in the locker room that are really pissed off about that.
Oh hell,
And
most of the
I
guys.
think Tony Khan, I think even though Tony Khan needs to learn how to look like be on camera more because he's so weird, he seemed like he was pretty pissed off.
Mhm.
And I think they're gonna. I'm sticking with it. I think they're gonna turn it up, and I think they're gonna put on some nutty, nutty shows.
Yeah, and the crazy part is the fight happened after most of the people backstage had already left. Like Hangman Adam Page, who people were blaming for the whole thing happening in the first place, wasn't even there at the time. He had already left the building, went back
So
to his hotel.
how'd he get suspended?
He didn't. But there are people on the internet, idiots, what I like to call them, who are blaming Hangman Adam Page because of a promo he gave back in May. So
Well, wasn't he the 3-man tag guy?
no, it was the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh, Page was the one that was teaming with the Dark Order at one point in the tournament.
Yeah, I remember him now. Now that you said the Omega's name, I can clearly know that there's two different guys.
Yeah, but yeah, people are when remember when Punk beat Page for the world title, that one AEW pay per view we watched earlier this year. There,
Yeah.
leading up to that match, there was a promo where Adam Page called out CM Punk for a bunch of shit, right? To Punk's face, mind you. It supposedly that promo, because Punk took such umbrage with it, that it took for Punk to have his feud with Moxley, break his foot, be out for 2 months, come back, and wait till he came back from that injury, you know, basically 3 months later to call Adam Page out and start all this horse shit. Why did he wait so damn long?
if if they were regular people, like for instance, we talked about G23 earlier, and he lives arguably the furthest away from me that we hang out with. Uh, oh, you're a butthead. No, you're a butthead. And when I see you, I'm gonna smack you. When I see you, I'm gonna smack you. And then, all right, well, don't go to Wanamaker. Don't go to NRA because I'll see you sooner or later, kind of thing. We could have back and forth, but realistically, we're not going to see each other ever. He lives all the way on the other side of the country.
Right.
Uh, so I would theoretically have to 5 years from now, see him at Wanamaker and be like, "Hey, you! I didn't forget that you called me a butthead."
Mhm.
CM Punk's a rich man and a very uh, persuasive man. Like, I don't think it would be hard for him to catch a flight anytime he wants,
Yeah,
get a ride anywhere he wants. I'm sure that he's got a nice place. I'm sure that there's a gym. I'm sure one of his friends has got, a ring in the backyard, some kind of thing. He could have easily got online, called that guy, and been like, "Look, man, you're running your mouth. Why don't you come see me?"
well, the thing is, he ran his mouth in front of his face. Why didn't he address it then?
Well, if they were acting, that's one thing. But I'm talking about like if it was like 100% super personal, no acting involved. Because I
That's what I'm saying. Why the hell did he wait so long to respond to it? If that's what's irked him to the point where he started running his mouth when he first came back, he was supposed to cut a promo on Moxley when he first came back from the foot injury. The first thing he did was sit down in the ring and call out Adam Page, who didn't come out because Page wasn't supposed to be there. He was there to record the show for Friday night and do some shit for being the elite. And he stuck to the script where Punk went off script to call him out for something that happened in May.
but that's my point. That makes you sound like a clown, unless he
Yeah.
actually had
Oh
a
yeah, I'm
broken.
agreeing with you.
Yeah, if the guy if my foot is broken, and me and you go to Whataburger every Friday, and I can't go to Whataburger for a month because I got an actual broken foot. A month from now, when I see you at Whataburger, it's probably on. If I haven't, been a man and gotten over it in a month's time. I mean, that's the biggest problem of it all is how deep could it be that you still angry with another dude 3 months later?
Yeah. I mean, how close to home did Page hit in that promo where that he must have hit a nerve somewhere
Well,
for Punk to be that pissed off, you know?
Punk must have actually had a broken foot.
Well, no, this was before the broken foot.
Well, then that's what I mean. Why? Then he's just a punk because he could, like I
Yeah,
said before, he could have just got a private jet and went right to the guy's front door.
yeah, exactly. Or, been in the ring and called him out on it right there on the spot, and he didn't do it.
All right, but you can't fight a man on national television in front of 30,000 people.
No, but he could have told him to shut the hell up or something along those lines.
Yeah.
People do it all the time. I mean, have you not seen Jerry Springer? No.
Well, yeah, no, I'm sure, but I mean, you also got to think there's a lot of different stuff involved. Once again, national television in front of 30,000 live people threatening to commit violence against an actual person. That's problematic.
Yeah, I mean, but it just makes you wonder
And
why
he's
he.
not he's not an elected Democrat. He can't just do that.
No, but he's a big time Democrat supporter, so he could get away with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. None of the media people are elected either. So I guess you're right. You're right.
But
So what do you think? Do you think that it was just I was so busy and as I told you, next time I saw you it was on, and next time I saw you it was on, or do you think Punk was just being a punk? And
I, I think I've specified this numerous times. I think Punk is a cancer to the business.
so do you think that he was back in the locker room, just hanging out, and Paige and the Young Bucks were like, "Hey,
Well,
you got a
Omega,
big mouth for a long time. Now that we're standing here, what do you got to say?"
Well, if you want to go to that, he starts. If go back to the news conference where he starts again, going where he staged the whole thing where the reporter who asked him about that was in cahoots with Punk asking that question. If you will look at the news conference video, Punk, when he's told to pick a reporter, looks right at that guy right away. He doesn't do the scan the audience looking for somebody with their hand up. He goes right to that guy right off the bat, and that's when the guy asks him the question about Colt Cabana, which apparently the whole Colt Cabana thing that Page brought up is what got Punk pissed off in the first place and everything. And then he goes on and starts blaming the Young Bucks from Kenny Omega for starting rumors that he got um, Colt Cabana, real name Scott Colton, moved off of AEW and shifted to Ring of Honor and got him thrown out of the Dark Order and everything. When he signed his contract, that was one of the stipulations. Meanwhile, there is zero evidence that that is what happened. But Punk is the other one that's brought this point up has been Punk.
All right.
And then he's like, if you want to talk to me, come see me in my locker room. So I either one, the Bucks and Omega and their role as executive vice president saw the way Punk was talking to Tony Khan and didn't appreciate it, or treating Tony Khan at the press conference where Punk basically told him to shut the fuck up and kept going when Tony Khan did try reining him in, or two, they were taking Punk up on his offer to come see him in his locker room.
If you had to pick one, you can only pick one. You have to pick one because if not, the bomb is going to go off and we all die. So you have to pick one. Who do you think? Do you think Punk was like, "Hey, come see me," and he was standing there waiting for him, or do you think he was like, "Hey, come see me"? Haha, they're not going to come, and then all of a sudden, like, how do you think it went? If you had to pick away, who do you think was? Do you think Punk was, "Hey, come see me," and opened the dressing room door and was just standing there waiting? Or do you think that they knocked on the door and were like, "Hey, pal, you said come see you, and we're here. What are you going to do?"
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's with all the conflicting reports and everything. Until they come out with the actual interview, I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, not seeing any of the actual evidence, just going on what this person said and that person said, and not being able to, question anybody on the results. Like if I had somebody here interviewing, like we're talking right now, and could ask them about it and get an honest answer from them, that would go a long way to trying to sort this out.
But you also got to take into consideration CM Punk did have some mixed martial arts fights, like actual real fights. And his first UFC fight was not with a clown. The dude was not highly ranked, but he was a tough up and comer. And not even an up and comer. I wouldn't call him a veteran, but he wasn't a rookie either. He was a tough guy, and Punk got in the ring with him. So he might not be a coward. He might be a clown. He might be a punk, but he might not be a coward.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just it's hard to know for sure right now with the way everything's been going down. It
And
really
in the
is.
UFC octagon, there's three people in there, but one of them is a referee.
Yeah.
And he's not going to hurt you unless you try to attack him. Three grown men, three professional wrestlers standing in front of you, wanting some beef. That's a large plate to deal with.
Yeah.
But
Now,
go ahead.
I wouldn't be at least be surprised if they showed up at the door, they went in, they started talking, things got heated, some words were said. The other guy, Ace Steel, knowing the Punk was hurt, he starts to panic, grabs a chair, and that's when he whacks Nick Jackson with the chair and then bites Kenny Omega, and then all hell breaks loose. That I wouldn't be at least be surprised if we find out that's what happened.
Now that guy's just a civilian, right?
Well, apparently he was under some kind of contract with them under Punk's contract, so or some not as part of what Punk's stipulation to his contract or something. Because that guy is the guy that trains with Punk, his physical trainer and everything.
So theoretically, he's free from public charges,
Well, he's under AEW contract supposedly because of the Punk deal. I
which
don't
would
know.
make it an internal matter.
Right,
Right. Okay. So it's not like he's John Q. Public that bit somebody and now is going to go to prison for 10 years.
right. It, there still could be criminal charges filed from all this because it's not part of the show. I mean, it's still an assault. I mean, your
Yeah.
professional wrestler goes out and assaults another professional wrestler out in the street, they're still going to go to jail.
Right. Yeah. All right. How about this scenario? You said the three dudes are all executives, right?
Yeah, they're the executive vice presidents of the company.
All three of them.
Yeah.
What if Punk? You've already said Punk's gone off script twice, and kind of got out of pocket with the owner of the company.
Mm.
Little bit of a Brock Lesnar feel coming on. Not very reliable. What's this guy gonna do? Uh, what if they walk back there in executive mode and we're like, hey man, hey, Charles or whatever your name is, um, as a business, we have a personal problem with each other, well, in real life, but as a business, you can't you can't do that to the owner of the company. You can't break script. You can't do. You're violating a lot of stuff here, which is going to make a lot of the rest of the company look bad and make the rest of the company unstable. And then Punk was just flying off the handle from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they could have just been that they were talking, having a conversation. Things started to get heated, and the other guy, who's not used to any of that backstage, thinks that somebody's going to hurt Punk or something, grabs a chair and starts whacking people.
All right, I got another scenario. This is definitely what happened. All right, Punk is back in the back waiting for these guys. He's like, I told them to come back here. If they're men, they'll come back here. If not, whatever. I'm not going to go look for them. I'm not going to start this. But if they step into this locker room, I'm going to dust it up with all of them. And those dudes walked in their suit and ties with briefcases. And we're like, oh, lawyers and corporations and stuff like that. And then Punk was like, forget you, and spit on the floor. And then they ripped off their suits and went at it.
Yeah, the thing is, any of this is possible because we don't know. you know,
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. They went in like Superman and ripped their
yeah, I
suits
mean,
open.
they could have just stopped in on their way out of the arena for all we know. We don't know because, like I said, people were already leaving at that point. They might have been on their way to the door to head out and like, hey, look, there's Punk's dressing room. You guys want to stop and have a word with him about what just happened at the press conference? Well, okay.
I might have to back off my last statement because I got another one, and I got another one that might be good. They're all Democrats, so probably what they did was they got everybody together and were like, hey, everybody, thanks for having such a great show and putting all this effort in. I really appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up for tonight. Everybody going home and have a good day. We'll see you back at the office on Monday. And then walked everybody out the door, closed the door behind them, and then started battling, kind of like over ballots and stuff. I bet you CM Punk was in one of them Georgia videos.
There's just so much craziness going on that until they release the results of what their investigation was, which they are eventually more than likely are going to have to do. And at to this point, AEW still has not officially addressed any of this. Everything's just coming out from what person A talked to their informant in the company, and that person told them this, and then they contact another person that they know in the company, and they told them this, and then somebody else contacts the person they know, and they told them that. We still don't know for sure exactly what happened.
All right. Tony Khan's coming out of Subway tomorrow with a 6-inch meatball sub with bacon on it and black pepper jack cheese, lightly toasted. And TMZ runs up to him, hey man, when are you going to tell us about the thing? And he's like, this is an internal business matter, and I'm just not going to comment on it. Do you think that flies? Do you think that people let him get away with it? Do you think they can just not talk about it and just be like, "Hey, we're just not gonna put it out there"?
Well, at this point, as long as they got that investigation going on, I mean, when there's an attorney, if that's his rule that while there's an investigation going on, nobody talks, and nobody talks, and that would include him.
Yeah, but what if it's a year from now and the investigation is clearly over? And
Well, if the investigation's over, then anybody can talk. I mean, it's like it depends on how they handle it. It depends on if when their investigation's done, if it's handed over to law enforcement or not, and then they got to conduct their own investigation, and you still ain't gonna be able to talk about it. So and who knows how long law enforcement will investigate. So it's hard to it's hard to answer those kind of questions at this point.
there's no way to keep it quiet because sooner or
No.
later, CM Punk is going to be coming out of Subway, and TMZ is going to run up to him, and he's going to be like, "Ah, man, things went crazy, and Tony Khan had to fire me because I got in a little trouble, whatever. Somebody is going to say something sooner or later.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, eventually, like it's going to come out eventually. Like I said, we're according to the rumor mill and what people have heard from other people and all, that all. We're supposed to find out some point this week coming up exactly who's suspended, for how long, if there's anybody that been let go, or any of that kind of stuff coming up this week.
Now they put that kind of stuff on the TV show, or they just kind of put out like press release or tweets or something.
Your guess is as good as mine. Like I said, they've yet to address it on TV, other than the short little thing that Tony Khan did and when we were watching, where he stripped CM Punk of the world title and the Elite of the trios titles. That's all that's been said up publicly about it from anybody in the company officially.
Be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, again, I mean, we haven't seen anything like this before, which is what makes it crazy. Meanwhile, WWE is just over there doing their thing while all this craziness is going on in AEW, probably just smiling and laughing their asses off because it's not happening to them.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the roller coaster effect or the pendulum effect, because it wasn't very long ago WWE was in all kinds of trouble and AEW was the hot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you think about it, the WWE went through all the layoffs, the kids leaving the show, or not leaving the show, or leaving the show and not leaving. Then Vince's trouble. So there's been a pretty decent stretch where they've been.
Yeah, the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah, yeah. What's
Uh,
up, Squibby?
hey, Squib. Yeah, early in the summer, it was all everybody was like, "Ooh, look at the investigation that WWE's had to do because of what Vince McMahon did." Now it's, "Ooh, look what's going on over in AEW because of what the Elite and CM Punk did." And WWE is sitting there with a big rag wiping sweat off their foreheads, like, "Thank God the press is off of our case now."
Well, for the press and the fandom out there, guys like you who like to do a wrestling chat, there's lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, Christ. I mean, I was, for the first time since we've been doing this wrestling chat, I was doing midweek chats just to keep everybody up to date on what was going on because shit was happening so fast because of that. And now it's turned into a slow down while they're waiting for the official investigation to get underway or finish up, I should say.
Cool. We appreciate you hanging out with us there, Squibby. Hopefully we'll be entertaining and you'll decide to stick around. Hopefully we won't bore you to death. But if we do, we understand and maybe somebody else is out there. But thanks for coming and hanging out with us, bud, and have a good night at work.
Yeah. Don't let forklift guy drive off of any loading docks. Or do. I mean, if it's going to be less annoyance to you, but if he's not able to drive up behind you at random points in time, by all means, let him drive off the loading dock.
Make sure you got your camera on.
Yeah, but if it's going to cause more work for you, then don't let him do it.
Well, yeah, because Squibby's gonna have to go save the guy's life and then figure out how to get the forklift off the deck and then back in the building and fix that, and probably 4 copies of 10 pages worth of paperwork.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think what else happened. He said he's on a break eating a salad. Rob's not here. You don't have to lie to him.
I'm telling you guys, Rob snitches himself out all the time,
Oh, I
and
know.
I've never seen him show a salad on it. He's always turning his camera on. I see cookies and brownies and
Uh,
Subway and
Pizza, steak. The only time you ever see a salad with having anything to do is in his community tab when he after he's taken a picture of one that he saw at the local restaurant as he was walking by somebody else's table.
I think for Rob, I don't know if he's ever told you a story or whatever, but uh, from what he said that he deserves a cookie every once in a while, man. He's got himself in really excellent condition.
Mhm.
I don't get to join Rick's chat very much, but I've always got it playing, or I'll listen to like a replay. And remember, it was only like 6 months ago. He was talking about homesteading and building a log
God,
cabin,
yeah.
chickens, and a
He was
farm.
gonna have himself a little trailer. He was gonna be off the grid. He's gonna have chickens and pigs and a cow or some shit. Yeah, I remember that.
I said, I said, hey Rick, why don't you just try walking to the mailbox every day? I love that dude, man.
Yeah, yeah, he gave up on that idea. I asked last time I was able to be on his show. I asked him about it. He's like, no, I've pretty much given up that idea.
Like he said, I heard him talking. I couldn't. It was kind of in the background, so I couldn't make heads or tails of it too much. But he said one of his family members has got some property for sale now, like an acre lot or something like that.
Yeah, an acre lot. Yeah, he wanted to do all this on an acre. Yeah.
Well, no, I think
No,
like this.
no, he honestly wanted to do that all on an acre. It's like,
Oh
Rick, you're
well,
not gonna be
yeah,
able to do that on
that's
an
true
acre.
too. Yeah, that's true too. But this is like a regular, normal person's thing. Like somebody
Yeah,
I can't remember if they got it in like an inheritance and they're selling it now, or somebody just died and they're selling it.
yeah. It's just you bringing up the acre reminded me. It's like, oh yeah, he wanted to do all that on an acre of land. I thought of it.
He'd have got eat by a coyote on like the first night. The dudes that I've been working for said his friend was out in either Wyoming or Montana and elk hunting. He said one of his buddies was over there doing like calls and doing this and that, and he was over here doing his thing, and he could hear some rustling behind him. So when he turned around, he saw a giant grizzly bear
Oof.
standing up over him, getting ready to like lunge at him. And the way that the guy told me the story, so this is how he told me the story. Apparently, this is so I don't really know all this, but the dude said he could smell the bear's breath. That's how close he was, and all he thought it was just all gut reaction and just in the zone. He had a 45 with him, and he said he plugged the bear 3 times in the head, and the bear dropped down and ran away, and he ran the opposite direction. And then he called the police, and so now he's stuck in Montana or Wyoming until this investigation's over. Because you shoot a bear without a permit and all that kind of stuff, they want to know what happened. So they're making sure that he wasn't like out there attacking bears and stuff like that. But apparently he's got all his bases covered because he left his bow right at the spot and GPSed all the stuff like as he was running through the woods and doing all this kind of stuff. Plus, he also called the game warden and was like, "Hey, look, this happened to me."
Did they ever find the bear?
I don't know. I never heard any more of the story. I only heard the first part.
Yeah, the thing with a grizzly, they have extremely thick skulls. The 45 may have just given it a headache.
Well, he said that the bear like went down like normal forelegs or whatever, and then kind of like wobbled around a little bit and just ran off. So I don't know. He didn't say that he shot it. He said he popped 3 rounds. Now I'm assuming at that close of a distance, 3 rounds actually went into the bear and not just missed him. And the bear was like, "Oh, that's too much noise. I don't want to mess with that." Because generally, I would think all that noise, I don't want to mess with that, is going to piss him off and he's going to eat you faster.
Be surprised. I mean, if the bear wasn't acting super aggressive to begin with,
Well, it was
May have
super
just
aggressive.
turned and ran.
It was getting ready. It was getting ready to attack him. It was definitely super aggressive. You don't know
Man,
how
you
much.
don't know. Just because a bear stands up on its hind legs isn't necessarily a move of aggression.
When a bear
There's
is creeping up behind you and you turn around and it's already standing up,
well, that bear is
you
curious about what you are just as it would be anything else. Like, what's that over there? You
it's
know?
bears aren't kittens and puppies. When a puppy gets curious and nibbles on your finger or a cat scratches you a little bit, you're like, "Oh wow, that sucks. Get out of here."
Yeah. Well, don't forget, sharks bite not necessarily except for well, there's a certain species of shark that bites because they just eat anything that gets in front of their face.
Yeah.
But most sharks, when they bite, it's not because they're trying to eat you. It's because they're curious about what you are because they don't the shark's most sensitive points for touch is their mouth.
Right, I get that. So that's why a lot of the surfers and stuff like that and swimmers get bitten because they think, "Hey, is that a squirrel or is that a seal? Let me go taste it and find out."
Yeah.
And humans don't react well to being tasted by sharks.
Yeah. Well, the bear's the same way. I mean, they're gonna if it's curious, a bear. One of the bear's curiosity things is they will rear up and they will look at something
Rich,
cockeyed and whatnot. I mean,
I was gonna say, come on over and I'll take you to my boss's ex-girlfriend's house. She had a black bear that would be in her backyard constantly.
oh yes, so did
You
we.
live in West Virginia. You got a bear in your driveway right now.
No, we don't have a bear in our driveway right now. We don't have a driveway anymore. But we had a cat chasing a bear through our yard.
Right, so you know that you
Yeah,
don't wanna
that's
be
what I'm saying.
you don't want a bear's
Bears have a lot of different body things that they do with their bodies with for different things. Just because a bear rears up on its hind legs doesn't mean it's getting ready to swat your head off. It can
squib
do that just as easily from four legs.
squib is a naturalist. I would consider all of us tree huggers. Like actual real like environmental people because we actually care and take care of the environment. Uh I think Squid would have shot the thing anyway too. And I think
Oh,
if
I
it
probably would have too. I mean, it's just the fact that it's a brown bear and it's standing behind you is enough to bang, 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 run. You know, I'm not saying that it wouldn't. I'm just saying that doesn't necessarily mean the bear was trying to eat you. But it's better to be safe than sorry.
yeah.
Like Squid just said. I mean, it is
Yeah,
better to
there
be
you go,
safe than
Squid.
sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
even if the bear's just wanting to give you a hug, that brown bear weighs between 500 and 1,000 pounds, depending on the size of the bear,
Yeah,
or
you ever
more.
see that?
Those bears can weigh over 2 tons. That thing goes to give you a hug.
You're
Even if it's just trying to give you a gentle hug, it's going to break your back. That's
well,
why
that's
the
what
wrestling move's called a bear hug.
he said you could see the path that the bear ran off in. It was just breaking tree limb. Like in the movies, how when a bear runs through it breaks trees over.
Mm-hmm.
He said that really happened. Trees were just breaking as this
Oh
bear
yeah,
was going past
yeah.
them.
Brown bears are all nothing but muscle, especially this time of year when they're just getting ready to start gorging themselves for the winter
The
and they're
dude
lean. It's all muscle.
the dude that I'm working for here in Maryland said before his buddy went out there to go hunting, he was like, "Look, man, take your sidearm with you. Don't go out in the woods without a sidearm out there." And the guy was like, "Ah, man, I don't need to worry about that." And he was like, "Look, man, I'm telling you, do not." And he knew that the other partner that he went with was gonna have a gun, so he was like, "Make sure you're carrying when you're out there hunting."
Oh yeah, if I'm not in if I ever go out to Idaho and Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, any place like that, the minimum handgun I'm carrying on my hip is going to be a 357 Magnum
Did you've seen the videos of like the
in the
guys
woods. That is.
up in this tree stand hunting, and then all of a sudden you see a black bear climb the tree behind them?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of videos out there like that.
Oh hell, there's one where the guy's up in his tree stand and the bear climbs up right beside him and just
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
at him and climbs
Uh-huh.
back down again.
That's my favorite one because he like it's like he saw him up there and wanted to go say hi
Uh
because
huh.
he stopped right at him and looked right at him and was like,
Yeah, I
"What's up?"
looked right at him, just looked at him, sniffed him, and then climbed back down and walked off.
That's crazy, man.
That's what I was saying. Bears are just as curious as about you as any other animal would be when you're out there. They don't see a whole lot of humans, depending on where you're at, and they don't understand that you're not as strong as they are. So if they go and whack you, they're going to rip your head off and like, oops,
Yeah,
maybe that's not what they meant to do.
it's weird how animals and if we're just gonna go like no religion or faith or anything based, just really textbook nature kind of thing. It's interesting how certain animals are domesticatable, if that's a word, and certain
Mhm.
animals are not. Like a horse. A horse is 2,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds. I don't know how big horses get, but they're big, strong animals.
Mhm.
They could stomp a human into the ground every single time that they wanted to. Yet you snap your finger and a horse will come over and pick you up and take you for a ride and sit there and wait for you to come back.
Yeah, or given enough time and work, any mammal can theoretically be domesticated.
Not not the same. I
Yeah,
get it. I get it.
no,
People
no,
have tigers
I'm
and
talking generation after generation after generation of
there's
living with
never
humans.
there's never ever ever going to be a time when lions are domesticatable as a whole, as a species.
Uh,
And
Africans used to domesticate cheetah.
I,
The
I
cheetah was a
understand.
domestic animal in Africa at one point.
I
Cheetahs
understand
ain't
certain
much
and
smaller than lions.
cheetahs outside the palace were still eating people.
They were using them as hunting dogs over in Africa
Yeah, I know.
until
And
they
then
passed.
the poor
Until the
guy that
people,
lives in the little mud hut 1,000 miles away from the king got ate yesterday by a cheetah.
nah, I doubt that. A lion, maybe. A leopard,
Oh,
maybe.
okay, okay. Got tackled and bit by a cheetah, and then a lion came along and took the food and ate the human because the cheetah killed it for him.
Yeah, not intentionally.
Well, it was just fun to say hi and taste it.
Yeah, just
Give
wanted to
him a
say
kiss.
hi and didn't realize that it. Oops, I can't do
He
this
was
with a
he was
person.
trying to scratch his back. The guy looked like he was itchy,
Yeah,
so the cheetah was
yeah,
gonna
he was just
scratch.
trying to help him out. But in all serious, yeah, people did used to domesticate cheetah. I mean, it's the problem. Then you had you see Squib's comment out there. Well, you're a special case, Squib.
That's pretty good. That was funny.
But yeah, it, in all seriousness, given enough time, generation on generation on generation on generation on generation, any mammal theoretically can be domesticated to some extent.
Thank you. So, in other words, you said all that to say I agree with you. Thanks.
You're not going to go and get a lion and just automatically domesticate it. I mean, look what happened with Siegfried and Roy. And that tiger, they said, was actually trying to protect him. That was a protective mechanism that tiger demonstrated. And
Yeah.
that goes to my point about animals not understanding their strength and what they can and can't do with a human.
My mom has got a giant hole in her hand, and it's all swelled up and bruised. They've got they've got two lovebirds and two parakeets, and then they've also got a macaw. Is it a macaw? Uh, They got a big blue parrot. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
probably a macaw.
I can't remember what the all blue ones are called.
Probably some
Anyway,
subspecies of macaw.
and
Close enough.
so the big bird flew off its cage and landed on the little bird's cage, and my parents got the bird separated, so there's two cages, and they got it on this little bench. Well, the one cage wasn't sitting exactly right, so when the weight of the big bird landed on it, it started to fall. And my mom stuck her hand out to pick up the bird before it started to fall. So the big bird had one claw, a macaw, that's it, had one claw on my mom, one claw on the cage, and when the cage started to fall, and her only answer was stick my beak into her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got a nasty little uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen people get bit by parrots like that before, the big ones, and yeah, they can leave a nasty bite.
Oh yeah, man. This bird is ignorant, man. I mean, it loves me more than anything. As soon as I come in the house, it climbs off its cage and it'll just sit with me for the whole time and then fight with the dog. Uh, but it loves to fight. Like I've never seen a bird that just wants to fight. And sometimes, man, I'll pick her up and I'll hang her upside down, like I'll have her claws or her body's facing the ground and her claws are facing up, and I'll start swinging her, and she'll want to start rustling. And when she starts biting you when she's upside down, oh my God, it hurts, dude.
Yeah, you gotta remember their beaks are made to crush shells on nuts. You know,
About
their jaws are not weak.
about 2 or 3 years ago, they had her outside, and they used to take her outside quite a bit. And they had like 5 or 6 chickens running around. And a bird came down to try to fight with one of the chickens. And when that happened, the pet bird freaked out and flew up in a tree. So I spent two. Thankfully, it just stayed right there in the generalized area, like right in front of our house. Bird rustling, yeah, dude. I'm telling you, this bird loves to fight.
It's something different than midget tossing. So yeah.
And it's a pretty big bird, so it's about the size of a midget. It's It'd probably beat a midget up, to be honest. So I'm climbing all these trees and doing all this stuff, and I finally get the bird out of the thing. And they took it to the vet to make sure it didn't have any, didn't get shot or didn't get hurt or get any diseases or whatever. Make sure it was okay. And the vet said that there's not a bird in the county that my parents live in that this bird couldn't kill. Not one. And I'm sitting there thinking, we got red-tailed hawks.
Yeah, I'd take umbrage with that comment.
We got eagles.
Yeah, there are bird of prey around this area. You know, if you said eagles, red-tailed hawks,
The buzzards. I know
yeah,
that they're
freaking
not.
turkey vulture's bigger than that bird is.
Yeah, they're not hunters, but
Oh, they
if they need
will.
to,
Turkey
if they need
vultures
to
will hunt
fight,
small animals if need
if they
be.
need to fight, they'll fight.
Yeah, and
And
they have been known to kill rodents and eat
they're
them. So,
10, 15 pounds. This bird's 4 or
yeah,
5 pounds.
yeah. I wouldn't want to be the macaw that's got an eagle wanting to pick a fight with it. I'm just saying.
I was sitting there thinking, man, vets are really stupid. My friend, his first pit bull, she didn't like to have her nails trimmed. Like you could do anything else. You could clean her ears. You could stick your hand down her throat and take food out of her mouth. She was a really, really great dog. And but she did not tolerate clipping her nails. So we were like, "What are we supposed to do?" And the vet said, "Walk her on the pavement."
Hmm.
I said, "Wait a second. You got all these degrees on your wall, and that's the answer that you give us is
Hmm.
walk her on the
Oh
pavement."
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. I've heard.
stupid. We live in the suburbs, and half the time we're in Baltimore City. We walk her on the pavement all day, every day.
Hmm.
And we still got a problem with her nails, you stupid idiot. I told
Hmm.
you I was aggressive tonight.
Oh yeah, but that's a typical answer for vet about having their grooming their nails. I just walk them on the sidewalk, the concrete, or that'll rub their nails down. Like, uh huh. It's not like you, man. Live in the city. Like, no, that don't work. you know, Christ. Until you got to the park, there was no such thing as grass in the part of Pittsburgh I grew up in for most of my life. Up there, you know.
It's amazing how stupid smart people are.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Oh, just walking on the cement and pavement. That'll grind its nails down naturally. No, if they tried clawing their way through that might, and then you end up with a dog with bloody paws, and we're bringing it in here to have its paws sewn back together. But just walking it down the sidewalk ain't going to clip its nails, Doc.
We finally got it to where she'd let us do it. it would take both of us to do it. I'd have to distract her and you know oogie boogie baby talk to her and do all that kind of good girl and all that kind of stuff. And while he would hack at her nails. We had to go back to the clippers. Like she wouldn't let us use the petty paw or nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, those petty paws were junk anyway. That my wife got one of those to try with the cats, and it just scared the shit out of them more than anything.
Yeah, they don't really like it. I've seen I think one dog that one of my friends has got that didn't mind it. But every other dog that I've ever seen, as soon as you turn on one and it starts buzzing, they're like, I don't think so.
No, get that thing away from me. And then there were animals that they were showing that on shit, I think John Stossel. One of the last things he did on 2020 was
You broke up right after you said 2020. Yeah, I still got no audio from you, Rich.
yeah, StreamYard's being stupid.
There you go. You're back.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, last thing I heard was 2020.
okay, so you heard what I was saying about John Stossel in 2020. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how you used to like the consumer reports stuff on there where he would talk about bad products and that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I think it was him that talked about on there. And there were people whose pets were getting injured by things. Their paw, particularly small, like cats and dogs, would get their paws caught in it somehow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe like if the hair between the paws were too long,
Yeah.
or pads, I guess they're called.
Hmm. That's why you don't see the commercials for those things anymore. I think they got taken off the market because the pets were getting hurt. And the ones you see in the commercial were always trained animals. If you look at the small print on the screen, trained animal, your results may vary.
Yeah. Anytime you got the new hot thing that everybody has to get, wait 6 months to get it because you'll be able to get it at your local grocery store in the as seen on TV
Uh
aisle.
huh. Yeah, you get all that shit at Walmart. Yeah. How the hell did we even get onto that conversation? It's like we just went down a rabbit hole about animals. I don't even know how the hell we got to that point.
But I was probably some of my scenarios. The last scenario I remember was them locking everybody out and counting ballots while they were fighting. So I could have said some off the wall stuff and got us started with that. I don't know.
I don't. I don't remember. That's what happens when you go down one of those rabbit hole, folks. If you've never done one of these shows and somebody brings something up, and then you're like, "How the hell did we get talking about that?" And it's this. It's
Uh,
not just this show. I've seen it happens on so many of these kinds of live shows where they'll be talking about one thing. Next thing you know, they're talking about something completely off the
I
radar.
think
What they're supposed to be talking about.
I think right here at 9:40 was our culprit. Squib distracted us with his lunch break menu.
Maybe. I know that's when we got talking about Rob. Oh, I know what it was. We got talking about Rob. Then he brought up Rick and his farm,
Yeah.
and then you said about him getting eaten by a coyote, and then you brought up the story about your buddy's friend or whatever got with the bear.
Yeah.
That's how quickly things can derail. It's all Squib's fault.
Yep.
He's not even in here, and he still derailed the chat. For those of you who may watch in the after shows, Squib Lift is a frequent guest on the other show that I do. Yeah, yeah, he can be interesting to have on the show at times. What do
I
you
think
think?
I everybody knows I love Squibby. I think the world of Squibby. Uh, and a lot of people just don't listen at all. A lot of conversations are You say a bunch of words, and I'll say a bunch of words, and I'm listening to what I'm saying, and you're listening to what you're saying, and then I just answer what I said earlier. Is how a lot of conversations generally go, and a lot of times, kind of like if some like as far as financial kind of stuff goes. If Squib's truck. Squib bought a new truck because he wanted a new truck, and he does a lot of driving, so he wanted something reliable and new with low miles and good mileage. And in 3 years, he's going to take it back and go get another one. And people are like, "Oh, it doesn't make any sense," but they don't listen to his reasoning behind that kind of stuff. You don't have to agree with the idea, but his reasoning is solid. Whether you, it might not be reasoning for you, but it's solid. Kind of like my point with, and Squib was kind of talking about last time I was on Calico Corner. If you've got $200 and it took you 3 weeks to save that, and you're going to go buy a high point because I got to have something other than stupid reasons, why don't you just wait 3 more weeks and then go buy a Glock? Or wait 6 more weeks and go buy a SIG, or something better, more reliable, all that kind of stuff. And people just don't get the mindset of you've got to you've got a safe full of crappy guns that you like plinking with, but you're not and kind of and you
Oh
complain about it, but you're an idiot because you keep doing that.
shit,
Now I
man.
get it. There's certain like Ro. Ro likes to buy the cheap affordable guns because he likes that kind of stuff. He's got quality stuff too, but he enjoys buying the new G2C or the new High Pointer because that's what he likes doing. He has fun doing that. So I'm cool with that. That's no problem. Roll Call has never said I had to buy a High Point because the zombies were chasing me down the street and it's all I could afford. He doesn't have that mindset. He works hard and saves his money so he can buy a new crossbow, the one that he wants, not some cheap one at a flea market somewhere because it's there. And people just and they give Squip a hard time about that, but they don't listen to his answer behind this is what I do with my money and this is how I do my money.
Yeah, but there are people that are in that situation. I mean, I've known people in that situation. But if you got $300, get yourself a goddamn tourist. Don't buy the high point. Don't buy the goddamn not the tourist that Krabby bought. Obviously, I'm talking the semi-autos. Their semi-autos are built better than what their damn revolvers are. But get yourself like a G3C, the G4, the what is it, GX4 or whatever they call it. I can't remember the name. The one that competes with the SIG P365. Get yourself something like that. It'll do you well. I mean, there are people that carry those every day. Snob has one of those damn G4s, whatever it is, their P365 Predator, and he likes it. It's the one Taurus he said he likes.
Rob and Krabby are out there now.
If you got $300 and you need something, get that. Don't
Well,
buy that. I mean,
well,
a high. I mean,
let's venture into need that. There's a lot of other stuff that's happened in your life that's got you in a position where you have to have a gun right now.
yeah,
And if you live in what 20 of the states, I think it's like 20 of the states or something like that, maybe 17, I can't remember. When you live in some of the Democrat states like Maryland, it doesn't matter if you need a gun right now because you've got a long time to wait before you're going to get it in your hands.
yep.
If
I
you're
mean,
talking about a handgun, if you're talking about a long gun, you still got to go through a background check and wait 7 days and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But a handgun, there's a whole huge process involved in before you can walk out of a store with a handgun in your hand.
yeah. I could. This is a topic more for tomorrow's show, but I could show you police reports of women who went and who had a restraining order, went to buy a firearm in a restricted state, and while they are waiting for their firearm purchase to be approved, the person they had the restraining order came in and either beat the shit out of them or killed them outright.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I also always make the caveat that I'm sure that there's a very few out there that something explodes right now and I need a gun and I don't know what to do and that's the only way I can protect myself because I'm alone. I understand that. But most of the people that have this conversation aren't in those situations. They still went out and bought the Sky
Yeah.
because it was $250, and
Friends
they
don't let friends buy a Sky.
stay away from the Taurus
No,
605.
strangers don't let strangers buy a Sky.
And I've got no problem whatsoever. There's a whole bunch of those cheap little guns out there. Like when I first started buying guns, I was into the 380s, and I actually looked into a bunch of them before I ever bought one. The only one I own is the EZ. And I only bought that because it's the EZ. But I imagine myself having 50 because they're $200. I could get one every once a week with my paycheck. I could afford it. Maybe once a month I get a new one, and I'd have 50 of these 380s. And then I went to the store and looked at one, and I was like, "That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
want it. That's not the kind of collection that I want to have. I like the 380s. I think they're still cool little guns, but I'd just rather not spend $250 because it's $250. Because they're 1911 over there in the other case is $800, and I'll just come back in a month and get that.
the one time we were at the gun shop or the pawn shop, there was a guy in there. He was looking for something for his wife, and the two guns that fit their budget were a Sky and the Ruger EC9. Yes, I know you don't care for the Ruger EC9, but it was a better option than the Sky. And they were gonna get the Sky. I was like, I talked to the guy. I was like, you really don't want to get that. And he's like, why? It's like, I've known people that had those, ain't nothing but trouble with them. Get the Ruger. It's $10 more. It's a better gun.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I, my biggest problem, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that my biggest problem with the ECLC little crappy Ruger guns is I think that they just shut their eyes and threw a couple darts at a dartboard. This is the frame we're gonna get. This is this, and I'm gonna do that. And then whatever. Remember when Homer Simpson took over his brother-in-law's car company and made the Homer car, and then it destroyed the company because it was so ridiculous and
Yeah,
stupid?
that was his half brother. Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking
That's
about.
what Ruger did. Ruger sent their little retarded half brother into the R&D room, and they came up with those guns. And I think it's shameful. I really expected more from a company like Ruger, and that could just be my fandom. I may not stand up in any kind of argument whatsoever with some guys like you who, know history and know the real intricate details about the guns and all that, and the companies. But just in my mind, I expected more from a company like Ruger. I
Oh,
think I think I
there
think
is a marketplace for those guns. You're not it. I mean,
what
you know what I
what
mean?
they let hey, you guys go in and make the gun, and then they sold it to the public cheap and quick.
Well, they wanted something they compete with Taurus with. Let's be perfectly honest. They saw how well the G series and well, started out with what was it, the Millennium 911, and then they turned that became the 911 G2, that became the G2C and the G2S, and then it became the G3. They wanted something to compete with those lines of that Taurus was putting out there.
All right, we'll get a quick sidebar, and then we'll get back to that. Squibby's he lighting it up, and Rob said he had to go. I think he's going out date night or something. He says Outcast is partying. I'm on overtime. Who can spend more? We don't have to get into this conversation unless you want to, because I will if you want to. Uh, but that's an interesting conversation right there. Not necessarily against Squib versus Rob, but like the people who party versus the people who work overtime. And I know Rob's not a partier. Rob's a hardworking man. He's just having a good night out. But in general, the idea of screw it, you know, you only live once versus the guy who's going to keep his nose to the grindstone. And then we got this one, which is funny. Cash sucks. I don't like plastic guns. Uh, I do like plastic money. I thought that was funny. All right, so we were talking about Squid versus Outcast. We were talking about crappy Ruger guns, and you were. making excuses for him.
No, I was just saying what their thought process probably was on that because about the time they came out with those is when you started having the Taurus. Taurus was that's right around time when with their semi-autos, Taurus is manufacturing. They had a they had a change at the head of the company. They started improving their manufacturing as far as their semi-autos are concerned. And you see the at that same time, it's when you get Shield start comes out, and all that. So they were all like going into that kind of marketplace because
All right.
there was a market for those kinds of guns at that point in time.
You don't mind disagreeing with me, so I'll go ahead and ask you. We've talked about this on a bunch of different gun channel chats. Am I right or am I wrong? Do we not have the power of the consumer behind us? Like, don't we have power to make Sky go out of business or make better guns?
The problem is people buy Skies because they don't know any better. That's why Sky stays in business because there's people out there buying them.
And like, I have no problem with anybody who just wants to go buy a gun, don't really care. The first thing that pops in there because they think it's cool. I think Snobby's probably like that. Probably buys a bunch of guns just because, that's weird. That's a weird looking little thing. I'll take that. Why not? I think that's totally cool. I have no problem with that at all. Uh, 50 years from now, there'll be a guy who collected all those kind of guns, and we're going to be watching his videos going, oh, yeah, that thing is cool. It's $10,000 now. Not really, but I don't know. I just think, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's my singular way of thinking. As the consumer, we could stop a lot of that. But there's also a lot of things that I think personally the public and the citizenship could stop that we don't. But anyway,
Yeah.
and that's enough. See, Jason, and I don't think he'd mind me mentioning. Jason buys a lot of guns, and he usually buys pretty decent guns. Uh, he makes good money. He works super hard. Takes care of his responsibilities. Does grown man stuff, but he doesn't mind using layaway. At his gun store, he's got like a revolving door on the layaway, and I don't know why people don't ever think about that. Like he said, Squib said, finance it. Like really, I guess you wouldn't have to finance it if you could just put it on layaway.
Well, layaway is a form of financing.
Right, but you don't have to. Generally, don't have to go through a credit check. You leave like a 10% deposit or something like that.
Yeah, but there is a financing contract. If you look at the contract that they have you sign everything when you put someone layaway, that is a form of financing.
I've never signed any contracts. I remember when I was a kid, my parents would put stuff on layaway at like
Yeah,
Kmart, but
yeah,
I never paid attention when we went to go pick it up. And all the
yeah.
guns that
So
I've put on layaway,
depending on depending on the store, yeah, they will have like a form you have to fill out to put stuff on layaway.
yeah. See, I've only done it. The gun store that I like now is pretty much the only gun store that I'll probably go to. When I'm in, if I pass a gun store and I have time, I'll stop in and check it out. But for convenience of where I live and the whole 7-day waiting period nonsense. And I don't know what you got in the store, so I got to make a trip out to the store too. Uh, they've never charged me. I've done probably 3 different layaways, and they've never charged me or had me fill out any paperwork. They just made me put down like $100 deposit.
Yeah, I got no problem with finance. We financed numerous things. Our car is financed. Our house is financed. Hell, my daughter just paid off my two-in-one, which was being financed. When the old one broke and I got the new one, I just applied and got accepted for a new American Express card so I can go and pay for my glasses through the new glasses through financing when it gets here. So I mean, there's everybody. Financing is just a way to help pay for things when you don't have the cash on hand. You pay
Well,
over time.
I don't answer the question. Like with details. Just give me the broad. Are glasses expensive still?
Yes.
Man, I know how expensive they used to be.
Yeah. Without insurance, my glasses would have been almost $600.
Dang,
With insurance, they're still $142.
wow, dude, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, the ones I'm wearing now that are basically taped back together because of where they broke, these ones were even more when I got them because I got the transitions on these ones. I'm not getting into transitions on the new one. If I got transitions on the new ones, they would have been about $800. If I would have got the one pair of Oakley frames I wanted to get, they would have had to have sent them out to Oakley, and you could have added another $400 on top of it. So I mean, yeah, eyeglasses can be extremely expensive. Not as expensive like surgeries and stuff, but they can be very expensive.
Now, I get it when eyeglasses first came out because you had to shape the glass and you had to polish the glass to the right, prescription. Then you kind of dealt with how they fit on your face. I get that. But I feel like, I'll say at least from the 2000s, there was a glass shop on every corner. Every middle kiosk of every mall had 10 people selling prescription glasses and doing prescription. Felt like the market was like oversaturated with glasses. So you'd think that the supply and demand thing would have come into play, especially by now with technology and how easy it's got to be to make a pair of glasses now. Now, with that being said, I don't wear glasses and I've never talked to anybody about it. The prescriptions also could have increased exponentially. Like now there could be,
The
you know,
prescription is the cheapest part. The prescription is the cheapest part of my glasses.
well, what I'm trying to fit, maybe I'm using the wrong word, but like if one eye is a 15 and the other eye is a 13 and a half, now doctors can focus both of them with the technology that they got, where before you just polished them up and then you can see
Well,
better.
they've had that kind of technology for quite some time. I mean, that's why when you go to the eye doctor, they have that thing and they can set the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
where it's a different lens for each eye.
Well, that's what I mean. If it's easier to do that in the factory now, like you can
Well,
really, really dial.
that's been something they've been able to do
Well,
good
then, okay,
lord
well, back to my
going
original part. Glasses
over
should
100
be
years now. They've been
expensive
doing
now
that kind of
because
stuff.
it's been 100 years. So why are glasses still so expensive?
Well, eyeglasses have been around since like the 16th century
Why are they still so expensive? Is my question.
because of a lot of it can't be done just by machine. There's a lot of hand polishing and everything that goes into it. It's a very um, intense process for making a lens because you got to make sure you got to make sure there's no imperfections. If there's an imperfection in that lens, that has to be tossed and a new one started. It's not a uh, cheap thing to get into the business of making. There's only so many companies that actually make the lenses. When you lens crafters and all these other places that can do their own lenses in house, you're going to pay less for generally. That's why those you always saw the commercials on TV. Any eyeglasses for $99 because they did their own in house with the glass and they're cutting the glass themselves and everything. When you go to your private eye doctor, most of those prescriptions are sent to a hand. It's like okay, perfect example. You know how with AR-15s, most of the aluminum that goes into the receivers comes from two or three, maybe four foundries across the country. It's the same thing with eyeglasses,
All right.
as far as with the lenses, and then the different frames, the brand of the frame will, and what the frame's made out of, that'll increase the cost. And whatever any coatings you get on them, like I'm getting like the blue block and the reflection block and stuff like that because the blue block. If you have eyeglasses, everybody should have blue block on their eyeglasses.
Yeah,
Pricey.
you're talking about the transition lenses, right?
No, transitions are the ones that go from regular clear lens to sunglasses. The blue block protects your eyes from the blue light that's generated by your computer monitor.
Oh,
Which
okay.
a
Okay.
lot of if you're going to be in front of a computer for a long time, you should be wearing some kind of eyeglasses, even if they're not a prescription eyeglass that has some kind of blue block on there because it'll protect your eyes from your eye strain and everything. A lot of people get headaches just from sitting in front of a computer monitor a long time from the blue light that's generated by the monitor and the eye strain that it causes.
Krabby dropped some good comments. He said that he just got. I know a lot of people that buy their glasses, like their reading glasses and their basic focus glasses from CVS and Walmart.
Yeah.
And he said his wife's got actual vision issues. So, and then Squibby nailed it right there. That's your answer. They got you. And if you don't shut up, we're gonna raise it another $100.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Actually,
man,
cheaper
we're gonna
now.
raise it $100
They
anyway.
are.
We're gonna raise it 100 anyway.
Yeah, if you adjust for inflation, eyeglasses are cheaper now than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. It seems like they were cheaper then because money was worth more then. You know what I mean? Look at how everything's gone up since Biden's been president. If you adjust for his rate increases on everything, eyeglasses are still cheaper now than they were 10, 20 years ago.
Contacts were the same way when contacts came out.
Yeah,
It was like
contacts are cheaper than eyeglasses.
yeah.
My wife generally just wears contacts because it's cheaper for her. She wants to get a pair of glasses, but just to have on hand for emergency purposes. No, that had nothing to do with health insurance. Eye insurance and health insurance are two different things. Your general health insurance doesn't cover your eye glasses. You have to have a vision plan for that, and vision plans haven't changed.
Squib is on
Vision
fire.
plans weren't included in Obamacare and everything.
Bam. No, Rich, health insurance was better back then. Once again,
Oh yeah, health insurance
you're
was better
both.
back
I
then,
think
but
you're both
doesn't have anything to do with your eyeglasses. Your
right.
health insurance doesn't cover your eyeglasses and
I
everything.
think
That's
what he
your
means
vision.
by health insurance. I think what he means by health insurance is coverage. So, because I'm sure Squib has got vision and dental and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but when people talk about health insurance, they don't realize you say just say health insurance. People don't realize that health and vision and dental are three different insurance plans.
Yeah, but we
They
know
all think it's all one big long
Squibby's
thing.
well aware of that. Like
Yeah, but I would remember when we're doing these shows, we're not talking just to
I
Squid.
know, but I'm just saying for Squib's comment. That's why, because he used the word health insurance. But
Yeah,
Squib clearly knows the difference.
yeah, but the vision plans in and of themselves are the same as they've always been.
Now, here's one of the things that I think, as the consumer and as the citizenship, we let the snakes take over while we were asleep. It's a proven fact that most of your either good health or bad health is right in your mouth. And your teeth are a
Mhm.
huge part of whether or not you're gonna live or die.
Yeah, people don't
But
realize how much your teeth can fuck with you. I mean,
they don't consider
blood poisoning
dental
is
insurance
really
health
bad.
insurance.
Yeah,
Like you were talking about your HMO and your PPO and all that kind of crap, where you get you got to go get a stitch, or you got a cold and you need some antibiotics. Health insurance, dental is a whole different thing. Yeah, dentists are crooks. Damn right, Squibby.
yes, I get you were using it as a broad term, Squid. Now, uh, Oakley are crooks. Like, serious. If I wanted to get one of the wraparound pairs of Oakleys, right? They
Squib's trying to spam the chat.
they couldn't send the Oakley wraparound frames to the place that does the normal frame glasses. They had to send them directly to Oakley because Oakley owns the patent on wraparound vision frames. And Oakley was going to charge $400 more for the lenses.
I really don't have a problem with that. Uh, it's it's the free market.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily call it capitalism, because I think a lot of people like to use the word capitalism. They don't really use it properly. capitalism actually means something. It's not just as capitalism. The word doesn't. There's morals and ethics and all that kind of stuff involved. The free market, on the other hand, the free market capitalist is somebody who is free to be shady if they want, and if they get caught, they have repercussions to possibly face from the consumer. Uh, if Oakley had a patent and they got approved for a patent, then they can really charge whatever they want
Yeah,
and sue the crap out of you if you take their patent.
yeah. I mean, it goes back to the old thing where you don't have a right to the fruits of another person's labor or to that labor. Whether people like it or not, that's just how it is. The only government system where you have a right to somebody else's labor, you don't want. Well, they claim they do, but that's because they've never lived under it.
Well, and really, I mean, they're all the same because yeah, it's some I can't remember who said it, if it was a famous person or just some dude told me, but I've heard it a long time ago. He said socialism is the government lets you keep your business, but they run it for you. They tell you how to run it and they tell you how to spend all that kind of stuff. Communism is the government takes your business and just lets you work for them there.
Well, there's different types of socialism. Communism is actually a form of socialism. It's all Marxism.
Well, that's what I mean. It's all the same, but
Yeah.
whoever the guy who put it that way, he was explaining it to somebody. Like I'm pretty sure I heard it on the radio, and he was like, "Hey, this is how
Yeah.
I explained it."
You know what the difference between Nazism, fascism, and Marxism and Soviet communism was?
The flag.
No, exactly what you said. The Nazis and the Italian fascists, they let you keep your business, but you had to do whatever the hell they told you to do with it. The Soviet communists just took your business from you and then put you to work working for them.
Yeah. Chris Plant, the radio show guy that I tell you guys about from time to time, Krabby knows who he is. He said that he lives in Washington D.C., like right in the mix, and he said he was out walking one day and he came up to some woman in his building, some foreigner woman in his building, and he asked her what the difference was, and that's the answer that she gave. The difference between, he said, what would it have been like if Hitler would have took over Russia, or Russia, one of those kind of things like you just asked. And she said, a few more rules, just a different flag.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Most people wouldn't have known the difference.
I think this right here, Krabby nails it too. There's a lot of surgeries that happen that are absolutely unnecessary. What are we going to talk about now?
I have no idea. I don't even know how we get to talk about half the shit we talked about tonight because that wasn't on the agenda. It just happens. It's,
Well, we got into the wrestling thing pretty hard, real quick,
uh-huh.
and I threw out a whole bunch of wild and crazy scenarios, and your answer was, "Well, it's possible because we just don't know."
Yeah, because we don't. I mean, it's hard to
And
answer. It's
we're
hard to
dealing with a bunch
answer
of
those
maniacs,
hypotheticals because we don't have enough information to answer the hypothetical.
and they're all crazy people. So
Yeah,
it's very possible any of the scenarios that I came up with.
yeah, it's quite possible any of the scenarios that the two of us came up with tonight are the one that happened. It is quite possible that none of those are what happened. We just don't know. They could have went in there with 2x4s and did the whole hacksaw Jim Duggan thing and started whacking Punk with it, and the other guy grabbed the chair and started whacking. I don't know.
I'm gonna mix mine a little bit, and the guys are back in their suits, and they go in there and they rip open their suits and then kick everybody out and then start counting ballots and then pretend like they got into a fight and then CNN comes out and says, by the way, Joe Biden found 10 million more votes, so he actually got 91 million votes. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they were still counting votes a couple weeks
Oh, maybe they're. Hey, ask Krabby. Ask Krabby how long it takes a county to count like some stupid little school board vote or something like that. Montgomery County and Prince George's County
ago. Well, that's
and
Maryland. I mean,
oh man, there was another Frederick County.
well, you know what? This happened. Keep in mind too that what happened in Chicago. It's the mob. The mob did it.
All right, yeah. You ever watch Michael Francis on YouTube? Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar.
He was an actual mafia member, a made guy, and he didn't. Then he like left the mafia life, and they kind of let him go because I guess everybody else is dead and in jail, and they're old men now, and they don't really care. But he's got a YouTube channel now, and he tells old mafia stories, and he kind of still keeps a lot of things tight. Like, he doesn't spill all the beans. He just talks about the popular stories that everybody knows. And he was talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden the other day, and how basically Joe Biden was in with the mafia because being in Delaware and all the stuff he was into is in Delaware, he had to get permission from the mafia to do all that stuff. And then Donald Trump knew a bunch of the big mafia guys. Neither one of them were made guys. Neither one of them were really affiliated with the mafia, but both of them had to get tons of permission from the mafia guys and do a bunch of hiring of specific union people to get buildings done and all that kind of stuff and get whatever stupid stuff Delaware happens.
I think we should start wrapping this one up for tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
We covered some wrestling. We went down a couple of rabbit holes. It was an interesting show, that's for sure. I mean, there was some stuff I wanted to talk about we never even got around to, but I know you got work probably in the morning.
I'm off tomorrow, so if you want to
Oh,
get,
you're actually off tomorrow. Whoa.
yeah. Well, I'm not off tomorrow. I'm gonna do one of my jobs where I wash the trucks. I don't know if I ever told you about that.
No.
And then, well, one of my friends owns a company that hauls pool water around.
Hmm.
Like, you can't drink it, but it's not filth water either. So
Right.
swimming pool water, and he's got 6 or 7 different trucks. So I wash them for him, and so I'm supposed to do a bunch of that tomorrow. And my parents are on the remodeling kick again. So we're putting these bricks, like building this stairwell. It's complicated. It sucks, man. We had a set of steps leading into our kitchen, and they had basically tiles on them, and they were old and ready to do something different. So we tore half of the side of the steps off, and then tore all these tiles off, and we're putting bricks up now. So it's a big pain.
Here, if you got a swimming pool, you just call the town and they fill it up for you. The water department comes out with one of those trucks like what you're talking about and fills your pool.
Yeah, I don't know how like what kind of contracts he gets and how all that kind of stuff works. I've known the guy my entire life. I've been washing trucks for him for 4 or 5 years now, probably, maybe even longer.
Certain places you got to have the independent business do it because the towns won't do it anymore. I know Pittsburgh, the fire department used to fill people's swimming pools for them, but they stopped doing that back in the 90s.
That's probably a good idea. Taxpayers don't need to pay for that. What other
Well,
topics?
no, that you would pay the fire department to do it. The fire department charged you a rate for depending on how much water they transported.
All right, that's cool. Are we going, or do you want to get into your topics?
Man, I'm trying to remember what the hell they were now.
Oh, gee.
I don't even remember. Honestly, I had other topics that they flew the coop because I didn't have them written down.
Were they
I forgot
wrestling,
talking
bro?
about all the other stuff,
Was it
but they were
wrestling?
wrestling related. I just don't remember what the hell they were now. It was WWE related, but for life of me, I can't remember what it was.
Didn't
Yeah,
something?
it
Didn't
wasn't that big a deal, really. I mean, it's just
weren't, weren't we supposed to watch WWE the other day?
uh, we're gonna do that this Monday. I wasn't able to this past week, and honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to this Monday. I have to, so might have to put that off until maybe
Was was that
next
for a
Monday or
reason?
next Friday.
Was that
Huh?
for a reason, or was that
That
for?
was just to see how much, because people were saying the program's improved, just to see how much like the program's improved and whatnot.
All right. Tomorrow night, Krabby. I don't know if you get Newsmax, but Chris Plant's supposed to be either 8 or 9. One of the shows that are going to be on Newsmax. Chris Plant's supposed to be on that.
You know, they may have that on their YouTube channel too, because Newsmax has a YouTube channel where they put up some of the stuff highlights from their cable channel.
What's Krabby dropping links to right here?
I don't know.
I'm getting ready to go find out.
Yeah, what are you putting links to, Krabby?
By the way, tip of the hat to Krabby. I don't know if you caught G-Bubs' video uh, of the DC rally the other day.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Krabby was down there and he did a bunch of filming and sent it to G-Webs, and G-Webs posted it.
Cool. I saw Krabby had put something up on Instagram about it,
I don't
about
really mess
the
with his.
rally, but it was the day of. It was like I didn't even know there until I saw his post. I didn't even know there was one.
It was like I think a DC project or
Yeah, it was a DC project, but
yeah.
yeah, that was yesterday. And yeah, I saw his post. Yes, I saw his post today about it being yesterday, and I was like, there was a rally yesterday. I mean, you'd think there would have been more promotion for it, but no, I didn't hear shit about it.
And if you don't listen to Guns Barbecue or G-Webs, you don't hear anything about the DC project.
Yeah. Well, barbecues usually I haven't been able to catch his shows because of when they're on, and then same with G Webs. To be perfectly honest, I mean, 12 at night sometimes it's just with the
I know
doctor's appointment stuff my wife's still been having and stuff. It's just like staying up that late all the time. It's not doable right now.
I'm gonna be on.
She's got a doctor's appointment again this week. We got to go to.
I'll be on the Daily Gun Show Monday.
How are you going to manage that? Don't you work Tuesday?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think did Krabby link to us?
I don't know. Did he?
I think he did. No, this is the cotton onions. All right, I like that. It's snowing in Michigan, man, not me.
Yeah, this one didn't get anywhere near as much promotion as the one in 2019.
What's like the hottest Venezuela?
Oh God. I don't even know what's going on with Venezuela anymore because they haven't been in the news anymore because of the damn shit going on in Ukraine.
When I move to Arizona, if I see a snowflake, I'm gonna have to go like live on the equator. So I'm like gonna have to go live in El Salvador or something like that.
Well, you want to live in southern Arizona, then don't move to northern. Northern Arizona is up in the mountains, and you will get snow.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing. I'm aware of that part.
Okay. Well, you'd be surprised how many people aren't. Venezuela would be one of the richest countries in the world.
Yeah,
And then Chavez happened.
yeah.
Because people are stupid.
Well, hey, the good news is his daughter's still a billionaire.
Woo-hoo.
So that's always good.
Well, that's because he privatized or took over all the private oil companies and made them his.
Yeah. I wonder how flamingo tastes.
Chevron or Citgo, one of those two brands, I forget which one it is owned by Venezuela. I wonder how many people go and fill up at whichever one of those it is. I'm pretty
Not
sure
really
Chevron.
interested. Not really interested in finding how a ice cream or a cheeseburger from the back of a dumpster tastes.
What?
Oh, you didn't see any of those videos, man?
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Dude, dude, Venezuela, those people, like Krabby said, they're all
Oh, you're
coming.
talking about Venezuela. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were eating out of the back of
Yeah,
dumpster trucks
yeah, yeah,
and eating flamingos out of the zoo and penguins and stuff.
yeah. But yeah, if you're, I believe it's Chevron. If you're buying Chevron gas, you are directly supporting the Venezuelan government.
Well, yeah, there's probably 10 million other products that you use that Venezuela makes too. That's the hard part. That's and one of the conversations that we kind of get mixed up in the boycott versus boycott not. I'm 100% for boycotts. 100%. As long as they're organic and as long as they're not like cancel culture. Like if you've got a legitimate reason, a rational reason to say, hey man, we shouldn't drink Pepsi anymore because of this.
Hey man, I'm drinking cherry Pepsi right now. Leave my Pepsi alone.
Well, if you have an argument to make, then you can make your argument, and then people can either okay
Oh yeah, I know.
agree with it or not.
Pepsi
But
supported Black Lives Matter, so there's
yeah, and
that.
then I get it, and then but there's guys on YouTube like not any of us, but like some of the clickbait type of famous type of guys that'll come out. Oh my God, you can't drink Coke because they told you not to be white.
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
that happened.
well, yeah, I get it. It happened, and you can be upset, and you can say you can mention it, but to rag on and on and on,
Oh
like
yeah.
Salty Cracker made some pretty good jokes about it, and then let it go.
Yeah,
There was other
we talked about it when it happened.
yeah, and there was other guys who just droned on constantly about it from their Chinese phones and their Italian shoes and their whatever other toothpaste from you know some poor African country somewhere and their Tesla from some poor Mexican country somewhere. Uh, don't virtue signal. Just make your point and say, "Hey, this is uh, Goodwill. I don't shop at Goodwill. I refuse to go into Goodwill." And in my line of work, Goodwill would be very, very advantageous because I get a lot of destroyed clothes from paint and different
Hmm.
stuff that eventually just you can't wear trashy clothes forever. Even in the line of work I got to do, you got to look at least somewhat respectable.
Hmm.
So $3 pair of jeans at Goodwill would come in really handy. But the guy that owns Goodwill is an absolute disgusting, rotten human being and admits it freely. They they hire special needs people, and if you come in and you're Johnny that's got special needs, you're retarded, this, that, and the third, whatever it might be, he'll give you 10 shirts and say, "Here you go, hang these shirts and then fold these other 10, and I'll give you $1." And Johnny's like, "Okay, that's fine." So he folds 10 shirts the first day and hangs 10 shirts the first day and gets $1. The second day when he comes back, he hangs 10 shirts and folds nine. The guy gives him 25 cents. And he's allowed to do it because of the way some contract is, because he lets special needs people come in there and work. He's allowed to basically rip them off on their labor. And he's proud of it. He's done multiple interviews where he's like, yep, that's our policy and that's what we do. So I just won't go to Goodwill. But if somebody else, like if like Rob does construction too. And probably a lot of his clothes get destroyed, or Squib's a different person because in the factory you've got to have quality socks and feet on because factory work on that concrete and the steel constantly. You got to have your feet protected. Me and Rob, a lot of times we get to walk on the grass and change, wherever we're walking and sit down and do a different stuff. But our clothes get ripped and destroyed. So if Rob was going to go spend $3 at Goodwill, I'm not going to yell at him and scream at him and make videos about it.
Other place you could look where you got like thrift stores, for your work clothes.
That adds the next layer to the problem with me specifically is stopping and shopping. I, there's nothing worse than stopping somewhere. Like when I get up to go to work in the morning, I want to drive directly from here directly to my shop to get the van. And the only stop that I'm like interested in making is the Dunkin' Donuts right next to our shop before we go to whatever job site. And Squib's got a company uniform, so if his shirt gets ripped, then he's got another one. But his feet are on him.
Yeah. When I worked at Greyhound, I had to wear my own damn jeans because we had a uniform, but they never had my size pants. They could, for some reason, the pants not the size that I needed, they never had.
I don't know if you remember. There's a company out there called ACAL. That's ACAL Apparel. Squibby. The guy's name's Adam Calhoun. He's a rapper, country star, kind of stuff like that, and internet personality. But he's got his own clothing line, and he says, from his own words, whether it's true or not. And hey, Gary's with us. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Gary.
He says that all his stuff, except for his hats, so every other piece of clothing that he sells is all American made with American products and American labor. He says he buys his hats because that's the only place you can find decent hats from China or whatever. But he's got a line of socks, work socks. So maybe, I don't know how much they cost, but you can at least check out the website and see if it's something you might be interested in. He's supposedly 100% American made, and he's got his factory, and most of the dudes when he shows a video of his factory are like the dudes that he hangs out with. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't buy anything from him, but I also don't need work socks like that. I'll get the link for you, Squibby. It's called A Cal Apparel. I'll go get the link for you. You're gonna get to hear me typing, Rich.
Hmm?
I said you get to hear me typing and clicking away. This computer, oh my gosh, it took 15 minutes. I haven't been home in a few days. It took 15 minutes to start up. And then when I finally got it all started and watched a YouTube video and then your notification came out, it took me 12 minutes to get StreamYard opened and get into the backyard.
You have got to get a new computer, man. It, it's telling you, man, it is dying. It's like, come on, man, I can't do this much more. It's one step away from doing the Fred Sanford. I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming. Only for real.
It's weird. My old cell phone, about a month after I got my new cell phone, my old cell phone's camera quit. So that's why I wanted to keep it because I like making videos with that phone. I like the way the camera, was focused and all that kind of stuff. A month after I got my new phone, that phone cut off. And it didn't cut off, but the camera stopped working. And now there's a bunch of other stuff that won't work on it. And I'm waiting for this stupid website to open up, and there it is right there. Let me click on make sure this is the right one. It's called ACAL Clothing, not apparel. Yeah, that's it right there. Man. Yeah, this has got to happen. I gotta do this before the end of the year. I can't keep doing this. All
Yeah,
right,
I told you, man. Figure out what if you want to do laptop or you want to do a desktop. You want to do a desktop? We can go. You we can go to uh, Micro Center and get all the parts you need. Hell, I can tell you what parts to get. You can go to Micro Center and have them put it together for you.
there's that link for you there, Squib.
Or like I said before, I get the parts and I can help you put it together. I can show you, teach you how to do it. It's not hard. It really isn't. You can put together an AR-15. You can put a computer together.
Well, between you, Squib, Jason, Night Strike, I think I could put a pretty good computer together.
Oh, yeah, and you don't need a whole bunch of the best parts because of what you're using it for. You're not doing like intricate video editing or gaming or anything. You just need something you need to browse the internet with. So you basically need like an i3 or an i5 or a Ryzen 5 CPU, a basic motherboard like a B660 or B550 or whatever the new AMD ones come out with at the end of the month. Because I don't remember what the number system is going to be on their new motherboards. I think it's 650. B650 would be the best of the basic boards. I mean, it's not going to cost you much. You can put one. You can put a decent computer together for under $1,000 now, but you don't even probably wouldn't even be able to have to spend that much, to be honest, because of what you need it for. So I mean,
Stocks are all sold out. Dang, that sucks. Sorry, Squibby.
yeah,
Well, the only game that I play is Free Cell,
yeah,
and
you don't need a super powerful video card for that.
no, and the only editing I do is what the stupid YouTube editor does, and that's when I want to cut something out because that's the only thing the YouTube editor lets you do is remove clips.
Mm-hmm.
So that works out good enough for me. And by the way, you don't really put out videos, so you don't really. The YouTube editor that they've got right now, they changed it, and it sucks. It's so stupid. And like I said, all I want to do is cut a clip out. That's all I want to do.
Okay, well, I'm trying to understand Krabby's question. Uh, yeah, for the new laptops, if you're talking about putting Windows back on, just format the drive like you would in the old days, and then instead of using a CD to put Windows on, you download Windows or Linux or whatever your operating system you're using. Which either if it's not a Mac, it's going to be either Windows or Linux. To be honest, onto a thumb drive, you can use the thumb drive to install it onto the laptop, Krabby, or desktop for that matter. As long as your BIOS works, and you can just use a thumb drive to install it. I guess now we're going to go into nerd chat. Oh, speaking of that, uh, those of you, I don't know if you know who EVGA is. They're a big company that makes video cards and power supplies and motherboards and stuff. They were exclusive NVIDIA. In fact, EVGA stands for Extreme Video Graphics Array, which is what the VGA, or I think it's Array. Anyway, it's a video card terminology, is where their name came from. They are ceasing to do business with NVIDIA because they're tired of NVIDIA's bullshit, and they are not going to be making video cards at all anymore.
Here you go. I got. Let me give you the quick, easy answer here, Krabby. I got to turn my. Give me a second. This thing's slow. I got to get the volume up a little bit, but this is a quick, easy answer to simplify your question there for you, Krabby. If my stupid volume will ever click open. Man, I really shouldn't have punched this computer. I almost punched it again today. I envisioned myself, because like I said, I was kind of aggressive earlier today. I envisioned myself slamming it shut and breaking it in half. And I was like, I probably shouldn't do that. All right, here we go. Here you go, Krabby. Here's the answer to your question.
What, like with a cloth or something? Oh, well, no.
I already answered his question. Jeez.
Yeah, but Hillary answered it so much better.
Yeah,
That was a long walk for that joke. I'm sorry my computer took so long. It would have been a lot funnier if it was, snappy.
but there are videos on YouTube to show you exactly how to do it, Krabby. And basically, you just got to download the Windows install program if you're reinstalling Windows, or Linux. You would just download whatever Linux distro you're using. But you download that, you install, you make a boot drive out of, or you make an install drive out of the thumb drive. Only use that thumb drive for the Windows installer or your Linux distro if you're doing Linux. Don't have anything else on that drive. And then when you plug it in and you start the computer up, it'll bring up the, you go into your BIOS, tell it which drive you want to boot from, and set the thumb drive to be the first drive that it boots from, and then it'll then restart the computer, and then it'll come up and it'll start the Windows install or the Linux distro install, whichever one you're using.
He's talking about clearing like the memory and the history and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's talking about basically formatting the hard drive or the SSD on the computer. He was wondering how you put the new operating system on it, since the laptops don't have CD drives anymore. Another thing you could do, if you'd rather use a CD, which nobody sells, or the operating system's on CD anymore anyway, is get an external, which you could buy one of those off of Amazon for like $35. But easiest way is just to make a thumb drive that you just have your Windows operating system on. That way, if you have to, for whatever reason, reinstall Windows down the road, you have the thumb drive, you just put it in there. And it'll do that with Windows 10 or 11, depending on which one you download.
I got a CD player on my laptop.
Huh?
Got a CD player on my laptop.
Wait, it's because yours is old.
Oh, it's like 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It's 5 years old for a laptop is old, dude. It is.
Please.
I got a laptop that's 5 years old. It doesn't have a CD drive on it. In fact, that laptop my daughter is using as a server right now for the one game she plays.
This thing's a lot older than 5 years old too, probably.
Yeah, probably. Now he says it'll be Windows probably. Yeah, just go to Microsoft, download the Windows installer, and you're good to go. Whichever version of Windows you want to install. Either 10. I think they still have the one for 10 up because they still support 10 if you don't want to go to 11. Honestly, if you're not using one of the new Intel CPUs right now, Windows 11, if you're using it, just isn't worth it. I got Windows 11 on my 2-in-1. It's all right, but I like Windows 10 better. Windows 10 is more configurable.
What's the purpose of all that crap?
Of what crap?
All the stuff that you're talking about. I mean, like we talk about in my case, what you use it for, because you guys know I'm gonna talk to you guys, send a couple emails, and watch other live streams. That's it. When you use the YouTube editor to take out stupid clips.
I use Premiere Pro for editing.
Yeah, but you don't. What do you edit?
Look at my videos. I've put stuff in them. I got to edit put the intro in, the outro.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The core essentials, belts, and all that different kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, you only put out one video every like 6 or 7 years, so.
Yeah, right. So I got ideas. It's just right now with the wife being off work and everything, it's like too noisy around here to be trying to do a video because I really don't have anywhere quiet right now until we get everything situated with the house and get the basement cleaned up and everything. I really don't have anywhere to film right now. So if there's like a bunch of people around, it's like Grand Central Station going through the damn living room half the time.
I've thought about it a couple times. I'm about to, go through it again. I've deleted probably, I'd say probably 3 times as many videos as I've got actually on my channel. Yeah, the last time I did it, I got down to where it was basically just like just all my original gun videos. I think there was like 61 or 68. And then probably tomorrow, if I ain't got nothing going on, I'll go through and delete all the videos I just put out.
Mhm. Yeah, I got the core essentials. I got the groove life. I got the videos from Great American Outdoor Show this year.
Yeah.
The P365 video with the Wilson Combat grip on it.
Are you guys going out there this year?
Probably. I mean, it's not that far.
It's that February, right?
Yeah, it's usually the first week and a half of February.
I'd like to see Midnight again.
I didn't get to see him last time because the new restaurant was opening, and it was like Valentine's Day weekend, and he couldn't get us into the restaurant because they were just all booked up already.
He was the first internet person I've ever met. Not just gun channel, like the first person on the internet I've ever met. Before I started hanging out with you guys, if my friend came in and was like, "Hey, I just talked to this person on the internet. I'm going to drive to Pennsylvania and go meet him," I'd punch him in his mouth.
My wife's niece met her husband on the internet.
Now, one of the things, by the time I actually met Midnight in person, it was probably about a year. It was probably about a year ish, something like that. It was a good month's of span had went by, and I'd seen him on a bunch of different chats. I'd talked to him, and so he wasn't exactly a stranger. And I was going into public to meet him too. It's not like
Oh yeah,
I was meeting him in an alley somewhere.
well, it's like when we all met at the DC rally. It's like nobody was like, "Hey, yeah, you're good." It's like, yeah, we already know each other
Yeah.
since we hadn't met
Well, no,
in
to be
person
fair,
until that day.
to be fair, I did fanboy out a little bit when I saw Obnoxious One, because he was the first one that I actually saw face to face. I'd been
You fanboyed Obi? What?
Yeah, dude. I was there all day. I had walked from the Capitol. I parked my car and walked to the Capitol. Walked all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. I didn't go to what's the one behind uh, what's the one behind the Lincoln Memorial? Jefferson?
Jefferson.
I didn't go there. Uh, and then I walked back to the Capitol. Then I walked all the way back down to the Washington Monument. And G Webs called me and was trying to figure out where everybody was at. So I turned around and walked all the way back up, and then that's when I was Obnoxious called me. And when I'm walking through the crowd and I finally seen him standing there, I was like, I jumped up in the air. I was like, oh, so excited to see him, man. I ran over and gave him a big hug. I was happy, man. It was really a good time.
Sarge was like, tell everybody. I don't know if you saw when Sarge told me to go on, when he was doing this video, he was like, tell everybody to come down to the thing. And I deadpan, just like, come on down to the rally, everybody. And Sarge was like, wow, that was real enthusiastic. I looked at him and said, what? I did what you told me. Right up, and it was all on camera. He was live streaming.
That was the second time I met Squibby. See, a lot of that, the camaraderie and stuff needs to be talked about more. Like, I'll never forget Squibby talking about meeting up with Johnny Sprague and just really enjoying the company of that kid.
Man, I felt sorry for Ohio 45 ACP. He had to spend like 6 hours in the car with Squid. I only had to spend 3 hours in the car with him. the word to the wise: if you ever go anywhere with Squib, do not let him navigate.
Oh, quick programming note. Last night, I wasn't home, so I was somewhere else, and I was watching YouTube videos on a television. Like, they don't have cable; they've got that streaming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just popped on YouTube, and of course, put Gizzard Gary on. So I'm sitting there trying to fall asleep listening to Gizzard Gary, and
It wasn't me. It was everybody. We were all playing with knives at that point.
man, it was like, you know how like some of them cartoons or scary movies, it'll be silent, super silent, and over that one drip of water off in the distance, and then you know somebody's about to get their head cut off, and some brutal stuff is about to happen. I'm sitting there curled up in the bed, just trying to get comfortable. And by the way, the pillows, every single pillow in this house was garbage. Oh my goodness, man. His pillow. Oh man, I don't even want to get into this. And I could hear click, 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 click. It was truly nuts.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a knife chat last night during Gary's show. I was not the only guilty party, and I wasn't anywhere near as guilty as the other two. See, I wasn't there just flipping a knife like I normally would. Like that. Well, this isn't even a knife I usually play with. This is my automatic. This one you can't have in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can, but you can't take it out of your house.
Right, we'll go with that. I don't like the automatic knives, man. They're just one that I got is it's a cool little thing to have, but I would never use it for anything.
Oh no, this little one I have, I use it for a lot of stuff. Yeah, I got that nice little blade on there, which the little blade that I was on this little thing. Yeah, show you how fucked up my glasses are. See, look at this. Look at this. This is the fixed job my wife did just so I could have something to wear around the house. But yeah, this little blade right here, that is so useful. Because how small it, I mean, you can get a good grip on that and gives you a lot of nice little leverage for like cutting different things around the house. I love this little knife. And it's a bottle opener, so it's actually a multi-tool.
Black Cat taught me what jimping was.
Yeah, that's this right here. Oops, where's it? Right there.
Yeah. Remember back in the day? Whenever I would get all pissed off at Night Strike for racking the AK all the time.
Oh God,
Dude, I'm telling you, I love that noise. And I would beg him to do that all the time, man.
Yeah. Remember when he would get pissed off when he would do that, and I would grab my Pepper 12 and I'd rack it because it would make the same noise but louder.
I love it.
So irritated. He's like, "Quit it! I can't hear mine."
People used to go ape, just nuts. I loved it, man. I loved the sound that it makes, and it was just funny that people would get all pissed off. Oh man.
Night Strike. He have no social skills.
Did I say gimping? No, I'm not. We're not talking about Democrats right now, Squibby. I said jimping.
Yeah, this isn't Epstein Island, Squib. I'm not getting into that.
It may be weird. It may not be true because it did come from Black Hat, but he came just a couple of years ago. But the house that I'm living in now, there's a Food Line right down the street. I don't really think it's called Food Line. It might be Wise now or whatever. But it's the company that he delivers a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if it's who he works for, it's Wise.
Yeah, he was basically across the street from my house. I went over and had coffee with him.
He delivers to the one up the street from here every so often, up the street, up the road in
Well,
Maryland.
he says he's in Maryland quite a bit, mostly closer to the city, and I don't venture into the city that much anymore. Uh, Especially if I'm working, it just don't work
Mm-hmm.
out. But at this point in time, he was out in the county and literally 3 miles from my house. The only reason I think it's 3 miles is because you got to go through the neighborhood to get to the street. So there's a whole bunch of right turn, left turn, 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 turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the one here, it's just right up on. It's on 220 as you're heading towards Cumberland that he delivers to in this area. It's maybe 15 minutes up the road.
Did you think about your other topics yet?
No, I honestly cannot remember what the hell they were. And
Yeah.
the worst part is, I had just watched a video about it before we went live, before going live, and it just like I completely forgot what the hell it was now.
Pull up your YouTube and see what the video was.
Don't wanna, because then it can mess up my account name in the damn side chat.
Yeah.
You know, it would help if I could log into the right goddamn account too, wouldn't it?
Are we on Unloaded Media again? Or is this the wrestling channel?
This is the wrestling channel.
Bless you, by the way, in the background.
Yeah, that she can't hear you. So. You know, what did I just watch? It was a video from earlier in the day, but I just got a chance to watch it before we came live. Now I can't find the. Oh shit! I know what channel it was. So I can always look up the channel. But then I'd have to watch the whole damn video again to figure out what part of it was I wanted to talk about. Ow! Stop that! Ow! God.
See? See, she just wants to taste. Just a hug, kiss.
No, he's kneading my arm.
Your arm looked like it was itchy, so he's trying to scratch you. Pretend like it's a grizzly bear, Rich.
Uh-huh. One of the things I remember now from the thumbnail. Remember how we were talking about that the Olympic wrestler Gable Stevenson, how he had signed with WWE a while back?
Yeah.
Well, apparently they have no plans for him right now. There's nothing on the schedule for him at all. He's not even in NXT or anything right now. He's just on contract, but he's in Minnesota at home in Minnesota.
Is he getting paid?
I would think so. And there's been some rumor maybe that he may go back to. He has a year of eligibility on his college, so that might be why that he may be going back to college for another year. And if he does, he may wrestle in college, which their season starts in like a month. So that may be what's going on.
Well, he should be able to keep his professional job and go to college.
Yeah, the way things are now.
Yeah.
But I don't. You still can't turn pro and be amateur. So that might be why, because pro wrestling and amateur wrestling, the lines being blurred there.
Right, but he's got a pretty solid case, and this what he does is not wrestling.
Well, he is
There is no
he's
such thing as professional, whatever collegiate wrestling. So he's got him right there. You don't have to.
well, there is, just it isn't big in the United States, but there are in other places.
George.
And the way the NCAA rules are, and with professional wrestling being called professional wrestling, and there are guys that use the amateur techniques in professional wrestling. There's a blur there, and if he wants to maintain his eligibility, they may not Yeah, just to be on the safe side. That's just one of the theories about why maybe he's not doing anything with them right now. And there's another one that he made that one of the MMA companies had approached him, and he may be doing something with that too. It's unknown, but all it's known for sure right now is that there are no plans in WWE right now to use him. You know, he's technically on the Raw roster. He is listed as being on Raw's roster. So I just thought that
So,
was interesting.
are they trying to ice the guy for a reason? Like, are they mad at him or something?
No, no. He was supposed to do something with Triple H at WrestleMania this past year until Triple H had his heart issue. So there's nobody knows for sure what the reason why they don't have any plans with him, but it's speculated that it's something that he's going to be doing outside of WWE, whether it's the amateur thing or the MMA thing. Nobody's for sure which, but that's what it's looking at. Like, it's not because he's got any heat or there anybody's angry with him or anything like that, according to the reports.
What's his name again?
Gable Stevenson or Stevenson or something along those lines. He just won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling, whenever the hell it was the Olympics. Was that last year or this year? I don't even remember. I think it was last year. Because of the COVID, they had to delay it a year.
Yeah, I don't care about the
Yeah, I
Olympics.
think that's what. Yeah, I think that was in 2021 when they did the Olympics, because it was delayed a year. It was supposed to be 2020. The summer games are every year where there's a presidential election. So yeah, it would have been 2021 when they had it. But yeah, he won the Pan American Games gold medal and the Olympic gold medal in 2021.
Yeah, I never heard of him.
Yeah, they said they were gonna be grooming him to be like the next Kurt Angle because of how good he was, the gold medal and everything.
All right, yeah, you guys have talked about that before.
That was the other big thing I wanted to talk about, and I remember it down. But the rest of it was just little silly things, so it wasn't anything really super major important. Probably why it slipped my mind because none of it was actually anything really super major. It wasn't like the whole thing with the fight in AEW and all that fallout, but we still aren't sure what's what. If Kitty ran away, Krabby can't show him on camera. When I said "ow," he got me because he got that soft spot right on the inside of your elbow. That's where he decided needed, and it was like, oh, he hit that nerve, and my arm just like went numb. Thank God it wasn't my right arm; it was my left arm. I would have killed him if he had done that to my right arm.
Yeah, Rich just tossed him across the room.
No, he looked at me and ran away. I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is. He's out in the hall. He's laying out on the wood floor in the hallway.
Holding on to dear life.
No, you don't want to know what he's doing. It's not
Yeah.
safe.
From the injuries that he sustained.
No, he's doing cat things.
You're like you guys are like itchy and scratchy.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I think we do need to wrap this up. I'm starting to get the yawns.
Yeah, we'll be get another half hour.
Yeah. So, you got
Uh,
anything you want to plug or talk about or anything before we get out of here?
let's see. What's tomorrow? Sunday morning. So of course, the foul territory. Sunday morning edition, the early bird chat with Gizzard Gary tomorrow for sure.
Krabby's got a gear question that he's wanting to know how much slack did you leave on your core belt? I only have the leather one, and I didn't trim any of it down. I just left it the full length of it. So, Obi or Jason would be the ones to ask. Obi's got the battle belt one, so have to ask if you can get a hold of him and ask him how much he cut his down. Yeah, Gary's not doing the early bird chat tomorrow. Yeah, he said something about that last night after in the after chat that he was thinking about not doing the show tomorrow, so he's taking the day off. So, yeah, no early program note, no early bird chat tomorrow.
Yeah, good for him. It's not. It's yeah. Squib talks about it in some of his videos, but like hosting foul territory. Oh yeah, no problem, Squibby. Hopefully it's something that they can. Hopefully it's something worth looking at. You know what I mean? It's kind of bummer that they were out of stock. But hosting foul territory is one thing, which is it's not the easiest thing in the world, especially doing it every single week. But you kind of just have your buds on and chat it up, kind of like we're doing. It's basically a conversation that we're letting other people listen to. But
Yeah,
but Gary does a show. He doesn't do where like the live streams, the open lobbies that Mr. Knives would do, or the few that I would do, were basically just come on in and let's hang out. Uh, you're doing a show, so we try to cover the topics. Gary's doing a show. He's presenting stuff to his audience, so he's got stuff scheduled and he's got stuff he wants to progress through, which is pretty taxing after a while. Then you got to think the Sunday morning show, which is more of an open lobby deal. But the difference with Gary and not mostly everybody else, I would throw the link out there, but I'm kind of my internet situation's a little bit more unique. I don't get any trolls. I don't. I've never had anybody troll. Only I get some of the sex bots on some of my video comments or whatever, but I never get anybody trolling. And mostly 99% of the people that watch my videos are you guys, which that's why I want watching my videos. I don't care if the public sees my videos. I make the videos for you guys. But Gary lets pretty much allow almost anybody in. He's careful about, and 4 hours is a long time to maintain a show, and especially what if nobody shows up? If he's got to sit there and handle that by himself, that's a lot of work, man.
Mhm.
And he does it every single week. It's not like once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. Running two shows over a weekend is a pain in the neck sometimes. And when you run, when you're doing, just when you're doing Gary, if you're like doing Gary show like I do every Friday night, and then Sunday doing his Sunday morning show, getting off of here, getting a little bit of sleep, and then going and doing his Sunday morning show, it's not physically exhausting. It gets mentally exhausting. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the angle that I was getting at is he's got to keep his thought process constantly going. You know what I mean? And especially you know I've seen Rob did it for a little while the other day. G23's done it once or twice, but occasionally you don't get a panel. No matter how many
Mm-hmm.
invites you send out, sometimes people just can't show up, and you still want to do the show, so you got to sit there and do solo. Now, roll call, Big Johnson Guns and Gear, they do solo shows, so that's their thing. If Night Strike shows up, Night Strike shows up, but roll call intends to do his show by himself. So he's got that intention to do it. When you intend to just bring topics forward and have an open discussion and nobody shows up, that can be a real pain in the neck.
Oh, there's Snob.
What's up, Snobby?
Yeah. Like, with this show and the Sunday night show, I don't want to do them by myself. You know what I mean?
All right,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
I want somebody else. But that's the way I like doing the show because I like bouncing ideas off of whoever's on the panel, and I mean, you can do that with people out in this shit. I forgot to send Krabby a link. I just thought of that. Sorry, Krabby. One of these days, you got to send me your email or vice versa. So, yeah. But it's a lot easier to send them an email than have to go to Instagram. And I completely forgot tonight, so my bad. But it's bouncing ideas off. Actually, talk to somebody. It's a lot easier than trying to throw ideas off of, in my opinion, anyway. 'Cause I know people that do it too, though. They'll host a show by themselves and they'll just talk back and forth with the audience. But in the YouTube chat, you can't necessarily get
Yes.
out a whole your full thoughts in, was it 200 characters? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
He said he's gonna send it to you over on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw. Okay, I'll add that to my what do you call it, the contacts list or whatever, email. It's a lot easier to bounce ideas off of everybody when you got actual people that you're physically talking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, the problem with talking to the chat is the 15-second delay.
Yeah, there's that too. You may have already answered their question as they're asking the question. They just haven't heard it yet, or
Yeah.
you just see the question after they type the question. You get what I mean? So, I've seen people get mad. Well, I already answered it. They didn't ask the question until at the time you got to where you were talking about it, because they are right after they asked the question, and the question didn't show up in the chat until 15 seconds after you had said it, so they didn't know that you asked. You get what I'm saying?
Plus, everybody's feed is different.
Yeah.
Just like I'm at us saying 1, 2, 3 right now. Squib's feed past the delay might not hear that for a few more seconds. It all depends on when you logged in and all this different kind of stuff. Because I've had my phone open watching the chat and the laptop open watching the chat, and I could hear him say 1, 2, 3, and then I'd look at my computer, and like 10 seconds later, he'd go 1, 2, 3. But they were both, both the bars were fully open, like it was, not buffering, and I don't know, you know what I'm talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just depends on person's internet and then you got the built-in delay and everything. So it's a lot easier to talk when you actually have the person in the panel than it is in the YouTube chat. Not that we don't appreciate you guys all being out there in the YouTube chat. That's not what we're saying, because we
Everybody knows.
will interact with you guys. It's just when we're actually talking about the subject at hand, it's easier to have somebody that you're talking to in the chat.
Everybody knows you hate the audience, Rich. You don't have to make.
Uh-huh.
They've embraced it. They're like, look, Rich hates us, but we still like his show, so we're gonna come hang out.
Uh-huh. I thought I was going to have to go solo tonight for a while.
Hey,
Showed up late at the last minute.
it took me 4.5 hours to get the StreamYard open.
Yeah, I know. That's what you're saying.
Other than that, everything was perfect.
Uh-huh. Told you need a new computer.
Yeah, you told me that about a year ago.
Yeah, I've been telling you that. So somebody just doesn't want to listen.
Well, I mean, I'm listening, I'm hearing you, and I'm agreeing, and I'm feeling it. It's just go back to me having to go somewhere to actually accomplish that.
You don't even have to go anywhere. You can order the new computer on your old computer.
I'm not really for doing all that online stuff. One of the biggest problems is there's a Walmart walking distance from my house, and I hate Walmart.
Well, don't buy a computer from Walmart.
That's where I got this one from. This was actually a gift, actually.
Yeah, don't buy a computer from Walmart. If you're going to buy a store bought, go to Best Buy.
I bought basically this exact laptop for my dad because one of his tablets, the one that he liked the most, It had the bigger screen and was easier to use and all that kind of stuff. Uh, Broke, it cracked, or something happened, and he couldn't use it anymore. So he was back to using like basically like a Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought him a laptop, and I was like, "Here, just figure this out." And he knows how to use computers. He When computers came out, he got one and put it all together and did all that kind of figured it all. We just The internet sucked, dial up and all that kind of crap. So he never got into it, and he didn't want it, so I took it back. And then when I took it back, it was like 2 weeks later was Christmas, and my buddy got me this one for Christmas. I was like, I should have just kept the one I had from my dad. You could have gave me $300.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you're going to buy a store bought, go to Best Buy or Micro Center. Get yourself a. Believe it or not, it might be the same model at Walmart that Best Buy or Micro Center will have, but it won't be built to the same quality because of Walmart.
The,
Walmart is. Oh, good.
the thing that I would probably lean toward going to a Best Buy or a computer store is I want to ask questions to somebody who might actually have an answer for me.
Yeah, Micro Center then. Go to Micro Center. The people at Best Buy don't know shit about computers.
I tell people about it for like Lowe's and Home Depot. Uh, I guess everybody, Lowe's and Home Depot are all over the country, so everybody knows what those are. But the guy that's in lawn and garden that you're super pissed off at today because he didn't know what kind of fertilizer you needed or how many horsepower this lawnmower that you want to buy has,
Mhm.
but he's still the lawn and garden guy. He was the paint guy yesterday, and yesterday I was pissed off at him because he didn't know what bright white meant.
Mm.
And 2 days ago, before that, he was the lumber guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Walmart's the same way. Plus, Walmart's full of.
Oh, Walmart here is Walmart here. They hire people based on department, and they stay in that department unless after they've been there for so long, then they transfer to a new department. They don't move people like from sporting goods to home wares and whatnot at random during the course of the day. The Walmart that my kids work at.
Walmart's in central Maryland. At least that's what I can speak of because there's probably about six that I've ever been in. Are all disaster zones, man. Absolute. Now you don't have the 700-pound woman wearing a g-string, riding a goat kind of stuff like you see on the internet. We don't get the people of Walmart deal here,
Uh-huh.
but it's got 75 registers, one person at the register, and
Uh-huh.
then everybody's down at self checkout.
Uh-huh.
And there's 30 employees down at self checkout making sure you don't steal when people are stealing out self checkout like crazy.
Yeah, the only place that I've been that I've seen that your stereotypical Walmart shopper, the kind you were just describing, was at Sam's Club in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, I
Which,
mean you see out of shape people and weird, goofy people, but like at least, and I also, to be fair, I'll do without. If I have to walk into a Walmart, I'll do without most of the time. The last time I walked into the Walmart, I was supposed to go wash trucks for dude, but it kind of was like raining here and there. It's raining his house, raining my house, kind of deal. And we were back and forth with each other. So I was like, all right, I need to get some shaving cream and a new razor blade. So I'm just gonna pop into Walmart because I've already passed the grocery store. I got into Walmart and got about 3 or 4 feet in, and my phone rang, and I felt like it was God saying, "Get out of here, son. I've freed you." And it was dude saying, "Hey, hey, it's not raining here. If you want to come on through." And I was like, "Yep." And I turned around and walked out. Unfortunately, the flags that I like to give away, the Walmart right behind me has always got plenty of them, and they're usually a fair price, and they're American made. Maryland's too small to have a central.
have you made up your mind with what you want to do as far as computer?
No, uh, I don't take my laptop anywhere. but I like the fact that it's small and I can just push it out of my way when I'm done with it.
Well, you can build a computer that you could hook right into your TV and do that same thing. You could build like a small little computer
I
that's the
definitely
size of a shoebox.
definitely don't want to put any kind of internet on any TV. That's not my thing.
Well, the internet would still be going through your computer. The TV would just be using like you would a monitor.
I don't want it. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to look at my screen. I did that at the place I was staying at this week. I was watching YouTube on a big television screen, and I don't like it. It's that's I prefer old fashioned. I like my internet on a computer.
Well, it would be a computer. The TV would just be your monitor.
That's on TV.
No, that's not on TV. TV is an actual signal that comes through a cable or the air.
A television set is a thing.
Well,
That's
you
it.
can get it. Okay, how do you feel about a 24-inch monitor?
Let's see. I've got probably a 14-inch monitor right now, 15-inch monitor. Uh, how big did you say?
24.
24. So that's all right. Let's say 14. No, that's too big.
So you have seen in person the monitor that I have. That's too big.
I don't remember, but I know G Webs is shown, and a bunch of other guys that like do internet stuff show their video screens and how they got 5 or 6 different computers set up with these big monitors. I'm not into that. What's up, Abigail? Yeah, I just want a basic run of the mill 18-inch, 20-inch. The
What
24
about 21? They do have
even
21
the
inch.
24 would be acceptable, but I'm not I don't want I want my internet on a computer, not on my television.
Yeah, because you can get a 24-inch 1080p monitor for around $100
I
at
don't want a
a
monitor.
micro center. So
Unless I'm building a desktop, I don't want a monitor.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If you can build a small little desktop and have that hooked into that 24-inch monitor, and that's
Uh,
not going to take up
yeah,
a whole lot of room.
now I'm confusing myself a little bit. So, okay, because I'm looking at my laptop as we're talking. 'Cause that's uh, a 24-inch monitor is acceptable. I would go with a 24-inch monitor. I was once again thinking a 24-inch laptop screen.
No, they don't make them that big.
That's entirely too big.
Yeah, the biggest laptops are 17. There used to be 18-inch, but they did away with them.
I'm probably at anywhere from 15 to probably 14, 15 inches, something like that, I guess.
So we'll do a 20. If you wanted to build one, do a 24-inch monitor, and then for a K, I mean, you could just do a NUC. A NUC is tiny. Let me see if I can find one. I'm sure they probably Micro Center's got to have NUCs. You would think. Let's see. Where's their search function? Like they're in front of my
Again,
face.
we're going back to one of my other problems. Micro Center, if Micro Center is not super duper convenient for me to get to, it's out of the question. I'm not driving an hour to a Micro Center for anything.
They have them in the DC area.
DC's 45 minutes from my
Yeah, I
house.
know. But
I'm definitely not going to DC.
I'm trying to remember where exactly. Damn it. Let me. Okay,
I'm gonna
where
do my
is
best. I'm gonna do my best to stay away from Washington.
Fairfax has one. Rockville has one.
Rockville's closer. There's a gun store in Rockville that I like to go to when it was there. I think they moved somewhere else. Atlantic Guns, nice store. Too far away.
Fairfax and Rockville would be the closest to you.
Fairfax is in Virginia. That's not bad.
Yeah, I know. Or would Parkville be close? I'm not sure where Parkville is.
No, Parkville is probably. I think Parkville is probably closer to DC, but I think Parkville is north of me, or DC south. If I'm thinking correctly, because there may or may not be more than one Parkville. Let me figure out where this park is. Yeah, Parkville's like northwest, so I'm not going there either. I know where that's at. I've done jobs there. I'm about 10 less minutes getting to Parkville than I would be DC. First mayonnaise, the micro center. Yes, yeah, I'm absolutely difficult, Squibby.
Uh-huh.
Atlantic Guns moved close to Krabby. That's cool. I use United Guns. I don't think I've heard of United Guns. The last oddball gun store that I went into was in Olney, and some Russian people owned it. The girl in there was pretty cute, but that was just a situation where we were driving by there and we were like, "Hey, let's stop at the gun store and look what they got." So we did.
Yeah, one of these little nucks will be perfect for you, but you don't want to go to Micro Center. So.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what a NUC is.
It's a little computer made by Intel. I mean, they're tiny little boxes for what you want. It's okay. You've ever been in a business and they have those little box like computers they have sitting on their desk that the monitor gets plugged into instead of like a big tower. That's like what a NUC is. It's one of those little micro computers.
Right. Okay. How much do those things cost?
The one I'm looking at, it's a bare bones. You need to add memory to it. It's $500.
Yeah, we're out. I don't know. Adding no, that can't. That's not gonna work.
Memory is easy to. Actually, memory is the easiest thing to add to a computer. It really is. It just clips in there. It's real simple.
Memory is also something that somebody else could easily add to the computer before I buy it.
Why do I get a feeling you're going to buy parts and I'm going to be the one putting it together?
I told you, man. I told you at the very beginning of this whole thing. I told you that my postage to your house is going to be asked. I'm going to pay more in postage shipping stuff back and forth to you than I would for 2 computers.
Right. Well, no, you just order the parts and have them shipped direct to me. And depending where you order from, you get free shipping. But I mean, if you're going to build a computer, you're going to have to either go to Micro Center or buy the parts online. You're not going to. I mean, you can buy some parts at Best Buy, but not a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's something. That there's a computer store around here somewhere I could go to. But I definitely got to do it before. It's a 2023. Yeah. This has been a pretty long outro.
I know, right? We got talking about something else. So every time we get ready to wrap the show up, we start talking about some other shit. It's been the story of this episode. So, yeah. On that note, yeah, we are going to have to say goodnight. So, thanks everybody out there for watching. Thank you to everybody who comes in and watches the replay. And until tomorrow night on the Unloaded Media channel, we will bid you all adieu for tonight and see y'all later.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right here, we're the Space Cowboys.
Ooh, yeah.